Welcome, race fans, to the Elite Racing Network site of tonight's championship round, the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. So glad you could join us here for the ultimate finale of what has been an amazing season so far, the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. I'm joined in the booth by my great friend Rish. Rish, tonight is the night. This is the night that four drivers have worked incredibly hard to overcome, incredibly hard to make sure that their names are ones that we are going to be mentioning. And tonight, at the end, we get to crown another champion for the Elite Racing Network. There you see the championship standings on top of your screen there. Tyler 49, Massey, Shane Terrian, and Tate Lytle will be trying to defend his title. Those four drivers are the drivers we will be keeping an eye on. And out of those four, only one can remain a champ. The
Hey, Rish. Rish, we can't hear you on the stream. I can hear you in Discord, no stream.
Yep, I'm out here. Sorry about that. Audio issues on my end there. Sorry, Alex, but yeah, going to be one heck of a night here. In summary, four drivers going at it. Simple task is beat the other driver, the other three drivers, and here you see that starting grid right there. Tyler Fody, Nick Massey are the two first drivers in our championship group. Tate Lytle, Shane Terrian a little bit further back, but shout out to Jeff Green, Daniel Martinez, our top front row. Shout out as well Brent Jones, Jesse Rasmus taking up that third row. Yeah, we'll run through the rest of the starting grid here, but getting ready to roll off here relatively shortly.
Yes, the Dayz Gone By championship race here. This is it. It is finally going to be the race of which we will be talking about for perhaps, years to come. As we have finally reached this point in the season here. You see the cars gridded up on your screen here real quickly. As you take a look at the rest of the starting lineup here, this track, very, very unique. I don't know if we were able to, when we were able to get your voice here on Rovershoff, but this is a unique track. As you mentioned there, it is not quite the shortest track we go to, but not the longest here. It's a 7/8 mile racetrack here, and that is going to provide for some great racing here, especially with the lines they have when we get the one to go signal right now.
Absolutely. We had an IndyCar race here just a couple weeks back, and one of the best things about that race that we saw was guys were able to fan out all the way up the racetrack, and all of those lines worked out well for them. So hopefully we get the same kind of nature here with these Cup cars today. But still TBD. Didn't see too much side-by-side racing in practice, but what I did see is there were guys able to run relatively close together, which is what we love to see. So hopefully we see that over the course of the 200 laps we have tonight.
So Jeff Green and Daniel Martinez going to lead this field down for the last time, the 2022 Season A. JoinAPS.com Cup Series. 38 Jeff Green knows what it takes to become a champion, has done so in real life for the Xfinity Series back in 2000. He leads the field down through the Geico restart zone, and the green out the Days Gone By championship race underway. Who will be taking that checkered flag? We find out in 200 laps, side by side, as they race into turn 1 right now.
Absolutely. Green with the advantage there on the inside, but a great start on the outside by Daniel Martinez. He reacted in great time to the pole sitter and still running side by side coming out of turn number 4. There might be a bit of a run there for Daniel Martinez, and I think he's classified with leading that first lap of the race. But there you see that side by side racing is possible around here as Martinez finally clears that 38 car. But now here comes Nick Massey up from his starting position, now attacking Jeff Green. Massey leads Fody, and then Terrian and Tate Light a little bit further back in the pack. Those are the guys we're going to be watching all night long. Look for those orange numbers on the ticker at the top of your screen.
Now, we have 4 drivers, as we had mentioned there, and you will see those orange tick marks on top of your screen. But the guy we believe has had the most success all season long has been that 48 car. Nick Massey comes in here with 3 wins, and he made short work of Tyler 40 already in that 40 machine and has been able to take the championship picture in hand. Currently, right now, it's the first yellow flag is out. Number 1 of the night, and it looks like we'll have to take a look and see exactly what happened here. To the Whiskey Cash replay we go.
Yeah, it looks like the 24 car of Michael Hossack is the one that's pointed out to us. We'll take a look here and see what happened as he dives to the inside there of Johnny Thomas, just gets on the apron and loses the rear end of that car just a little bit hot into the corner. Let's see if everyone's able to avoid him. It looks like they are. A couple of cars had to dive to the bottom. Not sure if they might have got spun out as well, but it looks like, for the most part, everybody made it through that one relatively cleanly.
Yeah, that apron.
Here's the 88. Yeah.
Excuse me. Will get
no
you
worries.
every time.
Yeah.
And thankfully, that'll be a single car spin, but the 24 car, not the start he wanted to tonight's race. See the 88. Able to get around him. No harm, no foul. Single car issue for the 24 car. We are under caution for the first time here tonight.
Yeah, this was a concern, I think, from some of the drivers pre-race is, trying to figure out the fuel window, tire window is one thing, but I think a lot of them felt that we weren't going to get a ton of long green flag runs in because it is, we've definitely had, I think, historically some issues with short track racing here and the space that some drivers are giving to each other on it, but also I think just a tricky racetrack in general as well. So we'll see how that actually ends up playing out. That first run lasted just 3 laps. But hopefully guys will get settled in a little bit. Obviously the nerves are up there for these championship contenders, but it's kind of some of those guys a little bit further back that might be an early concern here for cautions and short runs. But that could be what it comes down to, is who has the best short run pace of these championship drivers. So that's another thing you have to kind of evaluate within yourself if you're one of those 4, Nick Massey, Tyler Fody, Terrian, or Lytle. Massey, we just saw there on that initial start, had good short run pace, cleared the 40 car of Fody, and is running 3rd right now. Meanwhile, Tate Lytle actually dropped 2 spots from his starting position. So again, just things to look out for. Obviously very early on in this race, but if you have a not great short run pace car, you might have some concerns later on in this race.
You mentioned the nerves of these drivers here before the start of this race, and this is something I wish we were able to do before the start of the broadcast, and that is actually interview these drivers just before they hypothetically stepped into this virtual race car here. But as much as we say this is virtual racing here, the feelings, the emotions very much are real, and these guys have a whole season on the line here. 48, the 40, the 83, and the 56. It is all about making sure you're able to act correctly and make sure that you give yourself the best possible chance of winning this race, or if not winning the race, at least finishing ahead of these guys. That's something that's got to be nerve-wracking and on the mind of each one of these gentlemen here as we carry on laps under caution.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's not just bragging rights on the line either for these guys. There's a fairly hefty entry fee for this series, and therefore the payout becomes pretty massive as well. The champion at the end of tonight is going to get $500 from the league as their championship prize money. Second place drops down to $225, which is still a significant amount, but you're talking about just over half as much as what that champion is getting. So there is quite a bit of a monetary difference as well for these guys. Third place pays out to $145. So that's another thing these guys are playing for, as well as just the obviously the bragging rights and the pride of being an Elite Racing League's champion and the JoinAPS Cup Series champion. But yeah, a lot of money on the line for these drivers, and that's huge for them. That is money that can, again, pay for future entries, things like that, and always in the mind, I'm sure, of these championship drivers.
And plus, we get to say your name a lot. I know Tate Lytle's been loving that there. We've been calling him reigning champion, and rightfully so. To say you're champion means something, especially here on iRacing. It is not a word we just throw out. It is something you have to earn, and it very much has done so here for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series, as we have the pace lights off on the pace car. And that means we're about to go back to racing next time by. Looks like Daniel Martinez will elect to start on the inside. Jeff Green back on the outside. The 48 car on the inside. This time we'll see if that 40 car can use the outside lane. That was the lane he was able to be passed by, the 48. We'll see if he can get by him. This time it's Daniel Martinez back on the loud pedal.
Yeah.
Lap number 9 in the books.
Great jump there from Martinez, and that actually allows Nick Massey to go flying by. And for Tyler Fode, that's kind of the worst case scenario for him right now, because he's still stuck behind the 38 car, which just didn't get a good launch, as now Jesse Razimus is trying to get by. So as Massey gains a position, Tyler Fode's just dropped 2 from the drop of the green flag here, as he's still stuck behind that 38 car and is now under attack from Josh Adams in that 95. So again, early days right now, but you've got to watch out for those restarts. And again, for these championship drivers, finding out just what needs to work if you do get that late race restart. If we have 2 laps to decide this championship, which it's come down to in the past, how do you play it out, and how do you get yourself in the best position on the restart? And sometimes there's not much you can do there, as you saw there for Fode. But Massey right now, great track position for him. We'll see if he can chase down Daniel Martinez, but Martinez was one of the fastest guys in practice, obviously put his car on the front row, and is right now still leading the way and has a solid gap up to second.
Yes, he does, but that gap to second has actually shrunk just a little bit. It's now about just 0.4 of a second as they go across the stripe there. Nick Massey has solidified himself into the second position. We ride on board that Sky Motorsports Ford Mustang, and that could be a championship winning shot there. If it's only one driver in front of him, he doesn't care exactly who that is. Daniel Martinez, not part of that championship picture, but that would mean Nick Massey would indeed get the nod. But he still has well over 180 laps to make sure. You mentioned this race coming down to 2 laps there. You better use every lap currently right now in order to solidify yourself in position for those final 2 laps there. As we see, quite a bit of commotion outside the top 5 there. I think I saw the 89 with that. Yes, Brent Jones really high up of turn 2. Tate Lytle also falling back. He's fallen another position now. He's hanging on intense. Might have a long race run in that car. You can never count out that 56 car at all, but definitely not the start I think he was hoping for as far as moving forward against his other 3 adversaries. Wow, the 89 car, Brent Jones loose again off the corner.
Yeah, Brent Jones a little bit struggling there just off the corner. Loose nature on that 89 car right now, just hanging on. He had a great qualifying, but right now just struggling to, I think, maintain that pace over this run right now. He's dropping back a few positions to get maybe settled with that car and just kind of get back up to pace once he does. Definitely maybe some alarm bells for the 56 car, because not only has he dropped position, but he's also dropped off the back of Shane Terry in the car in front of him. Terry as well just lost a spot to Chad Frankenfield, who is our biggest mover so far in this race, at least inside the top 10. Trevor Elam actually up 13 positions in 16th spot, but Chad Frankenfield up 9 in that 15 car. But yeah, Tate Lytle, Shane Terry, and Lytle especially, I think, is just struggling for pace early on here. And we've seen this occasionally from the 56 car, where he starts a race a little bit slower and kind of finds his way into it. but definitely a little bit concerning here, and we'll keep following him as the laps tick on. But for this 56 car, not quite the pace that he might be hoping for early on in this, as meanwhile Nick Massey is challenging for the lead. That's the championship rival for Lytle, and Massey clears, gets a blink there, but clears Daniel Martinez for the lead, and that right there is a double whammy right now for Nick Massey, the win and the championship lead as it stands.
Yeah, it would be his 4th of the season there, and he would do it in style, one that would propel him to the championship picture. But, again, still over 180 laps to go. We won't be throwing out that championship just yet, although the other 3 drivers have their work cut out for them. How about the run made by that 70 car, Jesse Rasmussen? He's doing a great job. That rookie, for the last time we can say this in this season here, he's having a great run so far. There hasn't had the season necessarily he would like, but that 70 car is showing some excellent pace early up front.
Absolutely. Rasmus has been one of those drivers who has shown some flashes of really great pace, especially I recall best with, you know, from Rasmus, his very first race of the Daytona 500. He qualified his way in initially there, and I believe as an open car. And I mean, he's had a great run ever since then. We've seen him in every race, so he has spectacular pace in that 70, and it's just been the consistency getting that all together. So right now, a good start for him up inside the top 3, chasing down and hounding down, really, Daniel Martinez. So look out for that 70 right now, but we'll see if he can maintain the same pace over the course of 200 laps. 10% distance complete, though, as we're running lap 21 right now.
And while we are under the green flag, we'll remind you guys at home, a fuel run here is about 70 laps. That's what we expect here. So they will need to go on pit road at least twice under the green flag by my calculations here. The tire allotment for these guys is just over 6 set of tires, not including the set of tires that they are on. So we don't expect tire wear, or at least tires to be an issue as far as putting them on there. No need to, what would you say, remedy or make sure that those are saved later on in this race. This is quite, actually, I would consider a short race, considering we're not going the full race distance. I think, by my calculations, it would be upwards of 300 or 400 in a Cup Series here.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I mean, we normally run at about 50% distance is normally how we calculate our race distances here in the Cup Series, barring those crown jewel events. So I'd imagine you'd be correct there. 400 laps would be a standard Iowa length. So, I mean, still a sufficient race distance, and it'll be a long enough race to give these guys a chance to really spread out and try that. And that is something we talked about in the IndyCar race, and something we haven't quite talked about here yet today is you know, lap traffic, and what's that going to look like. We'll see, actually, if we are able to show our track map, and there it is. Right now, we haven't gotten quite around to lapping cars, but as the laps tick down, it is a fairly short racetrack, and we're going to start seeing these leaders start catching up to those guys just towards the back of the racetrack, and it's going to quickly start spreading out our field. So something else to pay attention to. There you can see, again, those orange cars are your championship drivers, all of them right now towards the top. As Shane Terrian has a little bit of a blink there, but all of them towards the top, but they're going to want to be a little bit more compressed for Tate Lytle right now. It's effectively the length of the back straightaway that he already is behind Nick Massey.
Yes, that 48 car. Man, did that not bring back memories in the real world? 48 car once again leading a championship picture there. It's something I would hate as a fan. It meant that Jimmy Johnson was indeed on his way to win, and we know the history behind that number in this sport there. As we see the 38 car, Jeff Green wasn't able to lead a lap as the pole sitter there, but he's been able to solidly hang on inside the top 5. Just made a pass on that 70 car to keep himself inside the top 5, actually. New third-place driver, though, is Tyler Fode. He got around Joshua Adams. Yeah,
he got around Josh Adams, and actually it's Jesse Rasmus who's kind of dropped a little bit. Both Jeff Green and Jesse Rasmus have dropped from some of their positions. Rasmus back to his starting spot. Jeff Green falling back from the pole position that he started in, but yeah, we're starting to see now as we run lap 29 of 200, these laps start ticking away relatively quickly, but the tire wear it doesn't care how quickly those laps go down, because this deep into a run, and we're already seeing some pretty significant fall off on tires. About a second, just a little bit over a second worth of lap time is lost right now from fresh tires from the start of this race. So again, just something to keep an eye on for these drivers in terms of lap times and in terms of just pace that they're running. We talked a little bit about it last time around of that undercut strategy, and we talk about it many weeks of undercut, overcut, or how do you split up your tire run if we do get a long green flag run, and that's something we're going to have to pay attention to, because you can pit in early, get a huge pace advantage early on, but a lot of the times it kind of falls away from you. So we'll take a look and see. With 70 laps being the fuel run, I wouldn't expect anybody to really give up on their tires that much earlier than those 70 laps here, because you want to minimize the amount of time on pit road and therefore minimize the number of pit stops.
Exactly. You also want to minimize your chance of being ruled out. A lap down or more, you will go a lap under the green flag if you're one of these front drivers. Probably, too, with how fast they are lapping this joint here. I believe a lap here is just a little over 30 seconds here, and pit road speed is going to be, I imagine, what, 45 miles an hour? Didn't get that one. I should have asked that earlier, but it nonetheless, it is going to be slow. It typically is on a short track such as this, less than a mile in length. We see the 56 car of Tate Lytle beginning to make some progress forward. He's now reached the back bumper of the 83 car, still fourth out of our championship 4 picture there, but beginning to run down some of these guys he began to lose touch with, as we see just behind him. Wow, the 15 and the 11 deciding who is going to be in that position.
For sure, yeah, those guys swapping positions now. Chad Frankenfield, who had jumped up a number of positions on that start, right now just kind of dropping back a little bit, and we'll see kind of that ebb and flow of the race as Tate Lytle has now passed Shane Terrian for the first time this race. Terrian, these last 2 laps, has been really struggling with rear end grip by the looks of it. Both laps he's been about 0.3 of a second off the rest of the pack, and there's loose nature on that 83 car. Shane Terrian right now hanging on by a thread, and maybe taps the wall there coming off of turn number 4.
Yes, very, very loose. I saw him exponentially up high. Oh, he's gonna go around. He hangs on. Oh, right. The 15 does all he can to get off him, but the 83, definitely a handling issue on that machine. As we ride on board, my goodness, that could have been trouble and day over, season over for that 83.
Oh my God, you can see it just snapping everywhere. There is no release for Shane Terrian. There is no moment to rest around this racetrack for him. That car is ready to go. Look at that. He's barely hanging on right now.
Yeah, and as a driver, that is the worst you could ever feel in a race car there. No stability in the rear of the car. Having drivers all around you. I mean, he's running along in the 12th position, so he's by no means kind of out there by himself where he could try and you know, remedy this thing, kind of limp it to the next green flag pit stop there, and we're still about halfway from what would be considered a green flag distance. He needs the caution in the worst way. He hopes not to be the caution.
Yeah, right now there's a very good chance he can be. I will say, great heads-up driving by Chad Frankenfield a few laps ago with the 83 car, basically almost spinning in front of him. Frankenfield avoiding getting involved in that wreck and checking up to avoid it. So great job there. But yeah, I mean, we're just watching this 83 car, and it is just a roller coaster of a lap every single time he gets anywhere near a corner, which unfortunately you don't have a lot of break between them at a track like this. That car, look at that. He's sideways through every single corner every single time he gets into these. He's completely burned off the tires on that, and another big snap for Shane Terrian as he goes the middle between, who's that, Trey Holmes and Michael Goodman. Joey Chapman now going around on the outside as well. Shane Terrian needs to just avoid these guys the best as possible.
Yes, and what would cause such a significant, what would you say there, Rish, that would cause such significant oversteer in that car this early in the run? I guess we're kind of midway there, but he is barely hanging on, and this is something that I would not expect out of our last winner in the Cup Series.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the guy who won 2 races in the last round there. Yeah, this is craziness right now, and he's just dropping.
Oh, trouble!
Crazy! Oh,
one car spinning right in front of him down the backstretch, and that will bring out the yellow flag. It looks like it is a rookie there. Yes, Joey Chapman, his teammate, going around there, and that's going to be good news for that 83 machine. We'll see if there was contact there, but that 83 was definitely going backwards there. His teammate going to bring out the yellow flag. We'll see what happens there. Was there contact between him and the 84?
Ooh, just loose off the corner for Joey Chapman.
Yes.
Around he goes, and there's that new damage model. You can see huge damage to that front right suspension as it kind of settles back in. But yeah, for Joey Chapman, very convenient timing for his teammate, I will say that. But I'm not.
I don't think that was what do you call it? As far as helping out a teammate there. That's quite a bit of a damage. That's not like Clint Boyer scratching his arm right there.
No, I was gonna say that was very obviously a big snap there for that 60 car, and again, absolutely saves Shane Terrian's bacon there as everybody's on pit road there. But Terrian, I think, overshoots his pit box, so his woes just get a little bit worse there. But again, still early on right now, just past 20% race distance. But man, oh man, yeah, loose nature, and it looks like that's just the wear of these cars and how they're starting to go on these drivers. You know, you saw with Terrian, you just saw that with Chapman as well, and what you'll get from that is it's really just driving the car a little bit harder through the corner, and you're getting on the power a little bit earlier. You're relying on those rear tires coming off to get a good run, and eventually those tires just kind of give up on you, as we saw there. So likely that's a driving style thing where, you know, it might be Terrian's taking the entry to the corner a little bit easier, but then really driving it off the corner. So trying to just burn through those rears a little bit more. It's just how you approach the corner, and that's where you can really find the difference between some of those, you know, the top guys in the league who are able to both be fast but also drive in such ways that they evenly wear their tires, or at least wear their tires in such a way that it doesn't become a detriment to their driving. So we'll see. Shane Terrian, I'm sure, learned quite a bit from that stint on those tires and is going to change something about how he approaches this racetrack, but definitely concerning on the long run if you're that 83.
And something that of which we saw a tire wear be a factor that last round was, I'll take it back to Auto Club, and we saw the 56 and the 40 really able to navigate that to the best of their ability, and they were able to bring down the win among them. Tyler Fode, and now running in the second position, Tate Lytle back in 11th there. Nick Massey, though, his teammate to the 83 car, not having the same issues that his teammate currently is having right now. He's been able to lead the most laps so far and currently has held on that first and only pit stop exchange.
Yeah, for sure. Nick Massey right there. The 44 car had contact under yellow flag conditions. That's Michael Goodman. We'll hop on and see if we can find that in the Whiskey Cast replay. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, when you look at teammates, the cars aren't prepped. You know, in the sense that this is a sim racing, so they're not prepped by team. But you'd imagine that there was some discussion between teammates about kind of driving styles and racing lines, things like that. So. You never know, you know, what communication is going on between these drivers, or if both Shane Terrian and Nick Massey decided to prep for this race separately due to the fact that it's a championship race and they're going against each other. Sounds like
interesting.
Yeah, so sounds like the 44 car hit the 15 at some point here under caution. It looks like there was a checkup, and we'll see that here. So this is replay here of the caution as drivers were all just checking up. And we're going to see the 44 coming in here just a little bit too hot, and yeah, there's just a slight tap with the 15. So just, yeah, just a
did
slow
all he can to try and avoid that, but yes,
yeah.
Unfortunately, going to get an EOL because of that move.
So with
all
that,
right.
Then back to 2x2, and back to green flag racing. Fresh tires again for these guys, and a brand new stint as we're approaching lap 50 to get to quarter distance of this race. Laps are ticking by relatively quickly, and so again, if you're Nick Massey and Tyler Fode, you're not too worried because you're already up there. But if you're Tate Lytle and Shane Terrian right now sitting at 11th and 16th, you're going to want to get a little bit closer to those two guys who you're racing for this championship.
Yeah, and Shane gonna definitely need to be much more in tune with his race car here over this second stretch with the green flag back out. Nick Massey, a little bit of a slow restart there, working lap number 46, but he gets going. Tyler Fode on the high side evenly tries to keep in tow with that 48 car. He'll lose that second position just a little bit to the 33 of Daniel Martinez, side by side down the backstretch as the 48 car begins to get away.
Yeah, 48 car, good launch there and brings Daniel Martinez with him as Martinez now does clear the 40 car. Up top on the racetrack, Josh Adams staying behind there and still 2x2 all throughout this field behind them. Again, watch out Tate Lytle. Shane Terrian with a big run early on. He's using up those tires again early on the short run. He's gained a number of positions up into the 12th spot now after restarting, what did I say, in 16th?
Yes.
Good restart
already
there
up
for Shane Terrian.
4 spots there. He's gone to the back bumper of his adversary, the 56 car there. Kept in tow. He'll actually take a look underneath. This is the battle for just outside the top 10, and he'll clear Tate Lytle and move that 83 car up to 10th. Tate Lytle bounced back out of the top 10. They're right behind pole center there, Jeff Green and Matthew Weeks in that 11 car, as that 83 trying to make light work of the rest of the field, trying to get back in touch with that top 10. He's done so early, but can he hang on with the pace of the car later on?
Yeah, absolutely, and here we go. Shane Terrian to the outside now of Jeff Green. Terrian flying around this racetrack, the fastest car on the track last time around, as he gets a little bit high there into the outside wall in 4, maybe a little bit of contact, but he's been playing it very close with the wall so far tonight and doesn't seem to be deterred by the long run pace he had in that car last time around. He's gunning it again on the short run here.
Now he'll slice to the inside. He's one of the drivers. He's not afraid to put that car wherever he needs it to go. Obviously feels very confident on these 4 fresh tires there to do exactly just that. He was on the high side there a lap ago. He took it to the inside of Jeff Green and was able to get that position back as he sets his sights now on this battle in front of him, which is a gaggle of 5 cars led by the 70 of Jesse Rasmussen. It looks like he is way up high in that race car there, using that extreme high lane, doing all he can to try and get back in touch with some of his closest competitors inside the top 5. Meanwhile, Nick Massey has driven away from the rest of this group here. He's gapped the 95 new second place driver there by a good half a second, make that 0.7 of a second. Tyler Fode back in 3rd, and just behind him, you can see the 83 car tagging along. The guy that we don't see in that picture is that 56 car. It seems to take his car quite a bit in order to get rolling.
Yeah, the 56 of Lytle, and even Tyler Fode, for that sake, a little bit slower to get rolling on the long run here, or I mean, short run pace especially. Tyler Fode kind of dropped off from Josh Adams and Nick Massey. Fode sits a second behind Josh Adams right now and a further 0.7 of a second behind Massey. So huge gap up to those leaders. And right now it kind of feels like he's holding up some of these drivers behind him. So, Fode, again, that 40 car, doing whatever he can, I think saving those tires for the long run. Meanwhile, you've got Terrian, who's still driving his way through this field, getting past fellow rookie Hunter Smith as they run side by side off turn number 4. Very close again between those guys as Smith gets the better runoff here, and now Terrian in danger of getting passed by Daniel Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez took advantage of that. Looked down low to the left elbow of the 83 car. He'll swing it up high this time out of turn 2. He'll be able to protect the position there and live to fight on another day. But wow, where that 83 car is running in relationship to everybody else, he seems to be a 2.5, perhaps even 3 lanes off what I consider to be the most dominant groove, which has been the bottom. That's where we're seeing his teammate run the 48 car really paint that yellow line, but he, especially turn 3 and 4, we'll see what happens this time around. But look where he enters, just extremely up high. Yes, about 3 lanes higher than anybody else.
Yeah, he is really flirting with that outside wall coming off of turn number 4. And Terrian basically said, hey, I burned through those tires and dropped all those positions. Well, let's burn through another set to get them all back here. So, I mean, I love this thought process from the 83 car. I think he's still banking on a lot more short runs here. So maybe was hoping that this run wouldn't go quite as long as it has gone so far, or maybe the first one as well doesn't go quite as long as it did, but that could be the strategy from the 83 car, is just burn through these, get track position, and maybe just try to hold on to it a little bit better on this next run, and he's done that so far, up 11 positions, or sorry, 9 positions from where he restarted, and meanwhile Tate Lytle's dropped a spot from where he restarted. So very different philosophies on how to tackle these runs. I think this 56, again, at least I'd imagine it's a long run pace car. He kind of found some stuff later in that run we had earlier, but as it stands right now, just the 56 struggling to put anything together, 0.2 of a second slower than 11th place Vincent Isabella that time back. And yeah, you kind of just have to have a little bit more even short run pace than that, even if Lytle is hoping for that long run speed.
See the battle just in front of him as Jesse Basham is trying to go to the outside of the 40 car. Chad Frankenfield, that earlier contact from the 44 really didn't damage him too severely, as he's been able to keep it inside the top 5. But yeah, we're beginning to see that 83 car, his run, begin to stall out just a little bit. Hunter Smith in that 14, doing a great job. Also a rookie for the last time in this season. We get to say that. I assume we say last time there. I don't think for the season B there. They're not considered rookies, right?
Yeah, after this, their rookie stripes go away, and they are no longer rookies. And I will say they've certainly shown up today. Rasmus, Smith, and Terrian obviously has had one of the more impressive rookie seasons we've ever seen here. Certainly close to the level of his teammate Nick Massey's last year, as Massey also made that championship 4 alongside Chris Wright, another rookie last season. But yeah, fantastic day for rookie drivers in the Elite Cup Series so far. But we'll see, obviously, if they're all able to stay up there. A few others a little bit further back who struggled today: Wyatt Knadel, Alex Gray, Bronson Stafford, Cody Harrington, 27th through 30th down there. Joey Chapman we saw with that spin, and Kyle Walgren. I don't know if Walgren ever made the start. Looks like he did, but only ran a short number of laps there.
Yeah, so not a bad day to have a rookie stripe if you're inside the top 10. However, if you're not, you are definitely learning right now. Kind of tale of the two rookies there.
For sure, yeah. It's been a pretty crazy season for these guys, and obviously big learning experience, but they've all been very impressive, I think, in terms of what they've brought to this league, and we just keep getting stronger. So hoping to see a lot of these guys come back next season for full-time runs, and hopefully even more advanced in terms of their racing level and ability on the racetrack, and continuing to see them grow is going to be awesome to watch from up here in the booth for sure.
We're going to have a little bit of a break before Season B, but I will turn to you there, Rich. What was some of your favorite parts of this season here for 2022?
Oh,
season
man. There's been so many good. I mean, obviously, this brand new car, and I think watching the drivers get to grips with it was huge, and that kind of occupied the first few weeks of the season. I mean, I always love the Daytona 500. I think there's so much prestige we have around that event, and how seriously the guys take it, and how amazing the racing, I think, ends up turning out there. So that's always one of my favorites. And then a couple of the other, honestly, some of the full distance races, you really start to see the endurance of these drivers. You go to the World 600, that was a very long night, but still some incredible racing that went on there. Same with the Nashville 400 we had earlier in the season as well, both of those being long distance full distance races. And unfortunately, somehow I managed every week that I missed this season were the road courses, which is unfortunate, because I would have loved to see these cars on the road courses and call them on the road courses, but didn't get a chance to see those. So hoping I get a little bit more of a chance to do that next season in terms of dropping in for some of those races.
Yeah, I was going to also mention going overseas there to some new tracks that we had not been. Suzuka, also one of those racetracks that was quite fun to watch there from the booth there. I have enjoyed every bit of this season from these guys handling these cars just as much as what we've seen in the real world. This next gen has thrown a curveball to everything that we've known as far as racing goes, and kind of what we expect out of a race car this season. It has thrown these guys for a loop, and to see these guys have to navigate, work better among themselves and around their race car to try and get the most out of their race car week after week has been exciting and thrilling to watch. You see that 56 car beginning to make headway there, trying to get back inside the top 10. Tate Lytle there in that 56. But to finish up that thought there, this season has definitely been, if not perhaps one of the best I've ever called in my iRacing career. And we don't even know who's going to win it yet. We find that out in about 129 more laps there. But I would say that, and also just our commentator curse seems to have been more prevalent this season. But that's also, I mean, not that I look forward to that or anything. It's just something that I've just noticed. It's been just really funny this season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this season's been all about parity. I mean, I think we had 4 first-time winners this season as well. We had Chad Thornquist, we had Tom Bourne, we had Trevor Elam and Shane Terry, and all 4 of those drivers first-time winners here in the Cup Series. And when you consider that, you know, this is an 18-race season, to have 4 of those be first-time winners and you know, brand new drivers in that sense to victory lane, that is incredible to see. And then we also had some more dominant drivers. Obviously, we talk about Nick Massey, who had the most wins this season, and the season that he's had, starting it out on the highest of highs, and continuing to race to kind of pull out a championship run out of that as well. So there's that. And then Fody, who was Mr. Consistency all the way up until the you know, third to last round of this season. So you know, all of that plays into the storylines that we've talked about.
Yeah, still able to make it there in that 40 car. I love, you mentioned parity. We've had that in our top 4. We had Nick Massey, who scored the most wins. We've had the 40 car. He scored perhaps the most points. We have our reigning champion there in that 56 car. Then we have a rookie new to it all. You cannot script a better championship 4, I believe, than what we're seeing of the storylines out of these 4 drivers currently.
Absolutely, yeah. They've all had incredible seasons, and there's a reason they're here. I think if you were to ask me to name the 4 best drivers this season, I think these would be the 4 drivers. So it's great that it's worked out that way as well, and all of them with this opportunity to nab this championship. But as it stands right now, Tate Lytle and Shane Terrian are going to have to dig a little bit deeper to see what they can find to challenge the likes of Massey and Fody, as Terrian, as I say that, goes way up high in turn 4, and that turn 4 is either Shane Terrian has found the perfect line there to get all the way up to the wall and use all the racetrack, or he's struggling there as we start to see that snapping loose nature on the 83 once again. And for the second time this race, and for the second run in a row, that going hard early strategy by Shane Terrian is backfiring on him very quickly, as that car has dropped off from the lead pack and is currently about to drop out of the top 10.
Yes, and he has a pack of hungry cars right behind him. You see Johnny Thomas right underneath trying to take advantage of that 83 car there. The bad news for him is that he's running out of teammates in order to bring out a yellow flag. It happened for him with the 60 last time. Don't know if it necessarily is going to happen this time there, but I would definitely say so. It seems that this 83 car might have a short run speed. He's going to have to take a look and figure out something better in order to make that car handle better later in this run, because currently right now he's falling to the wayside about 35 laps in, about halfway through a fuel run here.
For sure. And I mean, to be fair, we did also expect, I think, we said right at the top of the show, the drivers expected this to be more of a short run type race and not too much of a long run there. So, you know, this could be just what Shane Terrian thought was going to happen, and realizing right now we're having some longer green flag runs between pit stops. And so, you know, maybe the game plan that he prepared hasn't quite worked out. So it's going to be all about adapting. Meanwhile, Tate Lytle, who we talked about, needed to find pace. He was struggling on the short run. Fastest car on the racetrack for the past couple of laps, and here's that long run pace. Tate Lytle, who was languishing outside of the top 10 for the longest part of this run, has now found this pace and is just moving forward, and nobody is getting in this guy's way. He's up into 5th position, closing in fairly quickly on teammate Matthew Weeks, We'll have Daniel Martinez in front of him relatively shortly as well, and could be third place behind his 2 championship rivals as well in front of him. Might not be able to catch those guys on this run, but to gain that much track position, to use this as a long run to get that track position back is huge. Now it's, can he also have a short run car when he needs it, and can he balance that? Does he have that flexibility in the 56 car, or is this only a car that comes to life 30 to 40 laps into his run?
Yeah, that is going to be the question there, and one that I would be concerned a little bit if we do get a short green flag run, because it does take that car. Oh, yellow flag is out, second one of the night, and stopped on the track is the 70 car on the backstretch.
Oh no, Rasmus, he was having a great race as well. Jesse Rasmus, great pace in qualifying, was running up front early on, but looks like this might have been a similar incident to probably what we saw with Joey Chapman earlier in this race. Same part of the racetrack, might have just been loose off of turn number 2 and just correcting that snap of oversteer. We'll take a look here at the Whiskey Cast replay and take a look here. Jesse Rasmus defending from the 95 car. You can see a little bit loose coming off of turn number 4, heading down into 1.
This is inside the top 10 here. He's running in the 6th position. But yep, the car
drops that left front wheel on the apron. And at that point, I think hard to, these cars run a relatively stiff suspension setup. So you drop that front wheel there, you lose that grip, and it just rotates the car.
And brings out our second caution flag of the night.
So again, very good timing for Shane Terrian, just as he drops, as he's dropping down again, P15, right in that same point. Tate Lytle, though, biggest benefactor of that long run. I think he found that long run pace in the 56 car. He gets it stopped on his marks more or less, maybe a little bit long there. Might lose 1 or 2 spots on pit road here. But we'll see now again, how does this 56 car take off now that he has a little bit better track position? But we'll see exactly where he comes out. He's going to lose that spot to the 95, to the 11. I think he should come out, just dropped 1 spot to the 95 there on pit road.
Yeah, so far, though, despite what we're seeing out of that 56 car, no one has had an answer for the 48 car. We saw 40 able to get up to 2nd position, and he'll restart right next to him, but that's as close as he's been all race long.
I was going to say, I mean, right now we've got basically, you have Shane Terrian, who's very clearly a short-run car, Tate Lytle, who's very clearly a long-run car, Tyler Fode, who's a little bit of a hybrid, but definitely more of a long-run car. I think he found his pace, intermediate to long-run car. And then Nick Massey, who's just been quick on all aspects of the run. And if you're any of those other 3 drivers, you're starting to think, like, how the heck do we compete with that right now? Because the 48 takes off fast, stays fast in the middle of the run, and as the laps were winding down in that, Fode wasn't closing that significantly either. Tate Lytle was a little bit faster, but he also had lost all that track position from early on. So, I mean, technically, still a good long-run car if you're still up in front there at the end of it. So, right now these guys are going to have to all dig deep to challenge Nick Massey. This 48 car looking bulletproof as it stands right now, but it's still only lap 85 of 200, a long way to go and a lot for the other drivers to figure out here in the pack. As it stands, Nick Massey P1, Tyler Fode P2, Tate Lytle P6, and Shane Terrian P12 on this restart.
So under caution here for the 3rd time tonight. Looks like we are going to have another lap before we go back to green. So maybe we can perhaps try and pay some bills here. Want to do some sponsor reads there, Rish?
Absolutely. Let's pull those up and get through them. And obviously, starting as always with C2 Freight Resources, you see them on the side of Jeff Green's race car pole sitter for tonight. C2 Freight Resources offer complete freight management services and are ready to meet your needs today, as well as your changing needs in the future. With thousands of qualified carriers in their database, they're capable of handling shipping for every type of good, from perishable foods all the way to office equipment. They also have electronic data interchange services, which allow shippers to keep close electronic tabs on their shipments throughout the entire freight management process. Also want to shout out Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses. If you're a small business owner, then Blue Egg Marketing is your absolute biggest fan, and they're your marketing department. Whatever your constraints are, they help catalyze creativity, and Blue Egg Marketing will help your small business punch above its weight class. Finally, want to shout out Powerhouse Recycling, our last of our premier sponsors here. Having them on board this season has been fantastic to have them as an addition there as a premier sponsor, and they strive to offer the highest level of customer service in the industry for each load process time and time again. Attainable account representatives, prompt and on-time pickups, and customized recycling solutions keep Powerhouse Recycling as a North Carolina market leader in customer service. Shout out to those premier sponsors, and let's shout out our race sponsor as well, Days Gone By Vintage Apparel. Brent Wentz is the owner of this. He's been a racer here in the Elite Racing Leagues. He's also been a sponsor. Check out that 40 car. You can see it there on that quarter panel, that orange marking. It's an Etsy website. If you're into vintage racing apparel, if you have something old from classic racing that you want, they have it for you. Check out Days Gone By Vintage Apparel as they sponsor this championship race. And we're back to green flag racing. Nick Massey leads this field back to green here we go, running lap number 88 of 200.
Yes, long run speed versus short run speed. That has been the name of the game so far. We'll see how the other competitors can answer to that 48 car, who's been the best of both worlds. You see the 40 car there, able to solidify that second position. Did not get the jump on him from the 33 of Daniel Martinez, so that's going to allow that 40 car a chance to try and see what he can do with that 48 car on new tires. Meanwhile, the 56 car, Tate Lytle, he's dropped a position already and trying to hang on as he sees the 91 and the 14 of Hunter Smith. There's slight contact between the two right there. Where in the world is that 83 car there? I expect him to be making some moves, though. He usually does so. And he's been, kind of right on the mark there just a little bit. The runs that we've seen once he started to slip back have been when the yellow flag has gone out. So he's done his homework as far as trying to make the most out of his short run speed. However,
to an extent, I'd say, yeah. I mean, if they're 5 laps shorter, I think Shane Terrian is a top car in the field right now. Unfortunately, we've been running a little bit longer than he'd like on those runs, and he gets those 1 or 2 or a few laps there with those tough conditions and hard to handle car, and that's where he kind of drops like a rock, because he was running as high as 6th position in that last run there, that then kind of dropped all the way back to the 15th spot. So let's see here again. Maybe we'll get some shorter runs in the mid-pack, but we're seeing what we're talking about. Tate Lytle struggling to get that takeoff speed. Not great on the short run. He's dropped from that 6th position all the way back to 9th, and he's about to cross over with Shane Terrian here in just probably a lap or 2. And then if we have another long run, we'll see these guys if they swap back around. This is really intriguing here between those two drivers. But up front, I mean, Nick Massey separating himself from Tyler Fode. We know Fode is more of an intermediate to long run car, but Fode also needs to stay as close as possible to Massey, because I think Massey doesn't drop off that much over the course of the run either.
And something that we have not seen, because we have not had that 48 car back in traffic, but how does he handle when he doesn't have clean air? We don't know exactly how hard he's running that race car. He seems to be pretty even and pretty happy with the race car, obviously leading there, but is there a chance where that 48 car does not have the same pace? He's not really happy with that race car when it's further back in traffic or around traffic here.
That's absolutely a factor that we haven't really considered is he's had the great runs and he's had the great pace, but he's also had clean air, and that's a fantastic point to bring up, because I think if Tyler Fode is able to get by here, we could see a very different race car and a very different run here from Nick Massey, whether that's going to be he has a good long run car, or if he's going to quickly lose pace like his teammate Shane Terrian. So we don't know, but as it stands right now, when you have that clean air, you have that ability to place the car wherever you want on the racetrack. I think it's quite a bit easier for him to have that pace throughout the run. But Tyler Fode not making it easy for him, and as we're about 6 or 7 laps into this run, the advantage is starting to shift already a little bit towards the 40 car, and Tyler Fode digging deep right now to find something to try and pass Nick Massey.
It's a question that we have, but the person that doesn't want to find out that answer is that 48 car, and I think he's probably just happy keeping us guessing and keeping the rest of the field guessing as well. They've been able to drive already. They're up the road by a good, my goodness, 2 seconds ahead of Johnny Thomas, and that was just going back to green. It'll be just 10 laps since we dropped the restart flag on the field there. They've already up the road there by a good 2 seconds. However, this is the closest we have seen the 40 car to the back bumper of that 48 car, perhaps trying to make some smaller adjustments on that car in order to make sure he's around later on in this run. He is actually working that high side. Look how he rotates about half a lane up in the corner versus that 48 car. This time he'll stay in his tire tracks there, but just out on exit there, especially turn 4, and take a look at it in turn 2 there, I saw that 40 car really rotate well in the center of the corner there, and he's a half a lane up from the 48 car who's been painting that yellow line all race long.
Yeah, absolutely. 40 car and 48, just two different ways of approaching the corner there, as now the 40 car a little bit higher on entry, doesn't get quite as low there, but starting to lose a little bit of that gap to Nick Massey. It's hovering right now about 0.3 of a second. He'll get closer down the front straightaway, and then Massey kind of has that pace coming off the corners. So it seems like Fody better on the entry to the corner, and then Massey kind of has the middle to exit right now covered. But we'll see again, how does this shift as the laps continue to tick down? It's going to be all about how these guys wear their tires. And traditionally, we've always looked at that 40 car as one of the best at wearing his tires down in terms of saving them for a long run, but still having that pace when he needs it, and kind of being able to just manage his tires throughout a run. So we'll see how this plays out up front. But meanwhile, these two have gapped Johnny Thomas by 2.5 seconds to third place here. And Thomas then has Adams and Frankenfield right behind him. Vincent Isabella not far back, then Daniel Martinez, and then you get to Shane Terrian. Terrian, as it stands right now, 4.5 seconds behind Nick Massey. Tate Lytle further second behind Shane Terrian, 5.5 seconds behind our leaders. And so for Tate Lytle, who started off so close up front there on that third row in P6, already dropped down again just outside of that top 10. He's hoping that, again, we just get a long run, starts to come back to him. But this is a tough race to do if you're going to keep falling back and then having to pass guys again. You need to maintain that position early in the run and then use that advantage later on to pass the leaders rather than regaining the positions that you lost.
Exactly there. And the bad news on his strategy is that the laps are getting shorter as they continue to click away. We just passed halfway. And so if a caution does come back out there, he needs all the green flag laps he can get in order to make the most out of his strategy. And if we get a yellow flag, that's not going to play into Tate's hand at all. So now I would be a little bit concerned about our reigning champ as far as him trying to make it through. We still have what could be the longest green flag run of the night up ahead. We still have 95 laps, so we'll see. He's definitely not out of it. But as you mentioned there, it's going to be hard to overcome all the track position that he continues to lose immediately right off after a restart.
For sure. And just an update on that battle for the lead. Nick Massey has now extended that gap over Tyler Fody. Now it's 0.6 of a second there. You can see physically larger on your screen. So Fody right now dropping back just a little bit, but they're just on the entry of turn 1. Gained about 0.1 of a second there on Massey. So this is still going to play out, I think. And it might have just been Fody backing off for a couple of laps there. But yeah, I mean, close between these two drivers. That last lap, Fody was actually 0.1 of a second faster. We'll see as they cross the line this time by how that changes for them. Virtually identical lap times that time by. So very close between our top two drivers up front as they continue to just gap third place Johnny Thomas. But great battle going on here for third position. None of these guys are fighting for a championship, but all fighting for a great finish to the season before our 5-week off season. So putting the kind of the best end to the season so you don't kind of have a bitter taste in your mouth for how your season ended for those 5 weeks.
Yeah, this is a great run for Johnny Thomas in that 91 car. Has not had the type of season he would have liked really at all. There always seemed to be involved in somebody else's mess there, as we see the 15 do a little bit high right behind. But teammates there for Belly Up Racing doing a great job there. Chad Frankenfield there rallying in that 5th position. All these guys still looking for their first win of the season here. And add that 33 of Daniel Martinez into the mix as well. You see Shane Terrian in that 83. He's trying to work his way back up. He passes Vincent Isabella. He's up to 7th. The highest he has been 6th. Right before, what would you say, that crossover begins, and we see him beginning to backtrack. He's making the most out of it, still on the upward slide so far, but that time is about to run out.
I was going to say that last lap there, he was faster than Vincent Isabella, but slower than just about everybody else inside the top 10. I think we're starting to see maybe a little bit of that crossover from the 83 car. He kind of recovered it a little bit there. Now he's back on pace with Daniel Martinez. Actually back on pace more or less. That might have just been a single lap there where he was slower, just getting by Vincent Isabella, dropping that lap time. So maybe not quite at that crossover period yet for Shane Terrien. Right now we sit just about 30 laps into this run, just under 30 laps into this run. So we're getting close, though, I think, for Terrien. But he could also be taking this particular run a little bit less aggressively. He did start a little bit higher than he did the last run, so he didn't have to be as crazy going early. And I think that's paying off for him so far. Though we'll again see how this ages for that 83 car.
You mentioned something that I thought was interesting about between the 83 and the 48 car, how they worked separately this week. They had 2 weeks actually in order to prepare for this race here. Their teammates and teammates, despite not being able to have the car, actually prepared by a team and everything, they can help you as far as being able to know what works and what doesn't. And the fact that those guys took that week off, I think, is showing big dividends as to how that helped with the 48 car and how that perhaps hurt that 83.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't know necessarily. I'd imagine from what we've seen with Sky Motorsports is there is good communication there within that team. But when it does come down to the championship, I mean, even if it's talking about basic lines and ideas, that's one thing. But then sharing that last little thing, if you think you have an edge on the other driver and you two are fighting for a championship, I mean, you'll kind of give your teammate the base knowledge of, okay, this is how you drive the track, or this is how I'm driving the track. But that little extra thing that you're doing that all these top drivers do to get that little bit extra lap time, you're not quite going to give that one away. As there you see the first snap from the 83. He is side by side with the 15 car. They're off 4. But that's the first indication there that the handling might start to go on the 83 here. So we'll keep an eye out on Terrien as we're running lap 115 right now.
Another indication is that 56 car getting closer and closer as well. He's been able to now begin march forward. He was 11th. He's up to 9th, so he's gained 2 spots, looking for more. Is this the run where we see that 56 car make his way through the field? He needs not to see a yellow flag with the 83 right on the back bumper of Chad Frankenfield, and now a gaggle of cars here for the 6th spot. Here comes the 83 looking underneath. They've wiggled their way underneath the 15. Tate Lytle trying to look for any type of running room as we see a little bit of a snap oversteer by that 83 car. Here comes the other Pro Edge Racing Toyota Camry. That's Matthew Weeks to the inside to take over.
Yeah, Weeks has had a quietly good race here. He's been, I think, a similar car as well to Tate Lytle. So again, you kind of see their teammates maybe working close together. Weeks obviously not in that championship picture, so can kind of share a lot of information with Tate Lytle freely without that concern of going against him. So you're likely seeing that where those 2 cars handling very similarly and having the similar kinds of runs. Matthew Weeks very, just like Tate Lytle, kind of a little bit slow to start the runs and then builds up that pace and has a lot of pace late in the run and really shoots forward. So we could be seeing that from him right now as he's now ahead of the 56 car. And there you see the 15 in a very similar situation to Shane Terrien. We always talk about it, Chad Frankenfield, one of the best short run drivers we have in the field. But when it comes to these longer runs now, you're starting to see the 15 fade a little bit as well.
Yep, here goes the 56, and there's that crossover in real time that Tate Lytle able to get around Shane Terrien there in that section of the speedway. Move Tate up to 8th, looking for more. This gaggle of cars, though, still well behind Nick Massey and Tyler Fody. By my calculations, a good 4.5 seconds, almost 5 seconds still, they would be needed to make up, and you can see what that is. You can't even see them up the road, so that 56 car and the 83 still has some work to do. It's not over, but laps winding down the Days Gone By championship race here. We still have a green flag pit stop that will need to be made. That pit window opens up in about 10 laps. We'll see what happens here as the 56 car gets underneath the 15, and that will be 4/7. Yellow is out. 4th one of the night.
Good timing.
For the
Always good
83,
timing.
bad timing for the 56 car, though. I
For
think
sure.
he did not want to see that yellow at all. He's been wanting desperately a long green flag run, and now I believe he still has one more final shot at perhaps seeing it. But it takes that 56 car just so long to get going as we take a look at the 29 Trevor Elam. Oh, loose underneath. Jeff Green gets on the gas and right in front of our pole setter and goes around in turn 2.
38 car then, a little bit of a tap there, but no other major incidents, I think, for other drivers by the looks of it. We did also see the 6 car was tagged with a stoppage, as there goes the pace car. We'll take a look here. So it's just that self-spin there from Trevor Elam. Again, good job by the rest of the field to avoid.
I think Evans might have gone around on the front stretch trying to avoid this. He's that red car, not Vincent Isabella. Yes.
Yep, there he goes.
Trying to avoid that. Yes. Michael Hossack. Oh, Joshua Clark can't avoid that 6 car.
So a couple of cars there. Fortunately, low-speed incidents there, so not major damage to any of these guys. But, yeah, avoiding that crash from Zach Evans. A little bit more contact there from other drivers.
And I was going to say, you know, this race, there's a lot on the line, and so we're not seeing perhaps the yellow flags of which we would expect because these guys know that there is a lot on the line. I don't think you want to be the guy that ruins a championship night, either by bringing out a untimely yellow and or running into a competitor that's inside that championship 4. And I was just going to see perhaps maybe that is why we're not seeing the yellow flags go in the favor of like the 83 car, who perhaps expected to see much more calamity tonight. These guys don't want to be the reason why the yellow flag is out.
Yeah,
and not necessarily saying anything bad about the yellows that we've had. They've been, you know, single car issues and everything, but definitely not the type of go broke racing that we've seen earlier this season.
Yeah, for sure. I think just generally more thoughtfulness, I think, by drivers. Because, like you said, you don't want to be the driver that brings out the caution in the championship race. You know, you don't want to be that guy who alters the way the championship plays out. So that's certainly on people's minds, I think, as well. This track just races, I think, a little bit better for these cars and for these drivers. They're relatively familiar with it, however challenging it is. And so I think that plays into it as well, as it's familiarity with the track, even if the car is a little bit unfamiliar, car-track combo is a little bit unfamiliar. At the end of the day, I think they, you know, they're comfortable with the race cars that they have, and they're able to race cleanly around here. There's not really any kind of forcing of moves. So the incidents that we do see are guys just towards the end of the run mostly starting to lose those rear tires like we saw with Terrian, and not everybody's been able to hang on to it like Terrian has been. So everybody's suffering the same thing there. It's just we're seeing a couple of guys just maybe a little bit worse, get that big snap, and it's hard to recover from there.
So under caution here for only the 4th time. Gonna take this moment to perhaps just take a quick break. Don't go anywhere though. The Dayz Gone By Championship race live for the Elite Racing Network. We'll be right back with the green flag. All right. Field back in the hands of the 48 car, Nick Massey, who's going to leave the rest of the field in his rear view mirror on this restart there. We'll see if the 40 can tag along and hang on. No one's been able to get to the back bumper of the 48 car all race long. You're on board the 40 car there, and that's about as close as he's been to that 40 car, especially when it when it's there.
just dropped Massey there, so there's a little bit of a blink there from the 48 car, but yeah, here's what it looks like. This field of Cup cars chasing down our leader, Nick Massey, is another blink from him. Probably get off the onboard view from Nick Massey there. But yeah, I mean, solid restart from Massey again, but big blinking issues right now. He's going to hope those get sorted out. Would hate to see a championship decided that way. Shane Terrian, fantastic restart there. Meanwhile, Tate Lytle, horrendous restart there. More or less par for the course from what we've seen from these guys on the short runs, as Shane Terrian now just within one car of being right behind his two championship contenders in front of him. And I wonder, with this short run car, if Terrian does have this short run car and has the track position, can he actually compete with the 40 of Tyler Fody and the 48 of Nick Massey, as Terrian puts in a purple lap time that time around. Fody right now having to defend from the 95 of Josh Adams as well, so Terrian very fast early on here. Can he kind of capitalize on this, or is he right now just a little bit stuck behind that 95 car, and that's going to hurt his run later on?
Yeah, this is the highest in the running order. We've seen that 83 car, and this is exactly what he's hoping for, to have that short run speed and be able to burst kind of onto the scene. He's been able to do exactly just that. You see Joshua Adams try to go to the outside of the 40 machine, side by side for second place, and now the 95 car here around the corner for the 40, and he'll move up to second spot. Meanwhile, 40 in danger of losing that second position in the championship standing to that Sky Motorsports Ford Mustang, and it could be Shane in that 83. This battle as it brews, I do want to say, is just right outside of our fuel window. So it'll be interesting to note, if we don't see a yellow flag, what these guys will do in order to try and make it. They were just about 2-3 laps short of being able to make it the 70 lap window.
Yeah, so close on fuel here. I'd imagine a fun little statistic that we just got from Dave down on pit road. The last 3 stints have been 32 laps, 36 laps, and 33 laps. So in theory, we should see the next yellow around lap 160. Dave said he thinks 161. I'm going to say 164 is when we'll see our next caution. We'll see how that plays out if we do see that same level of consistency. But what we're seeing for the first time here is somebody challenging Nick Massey for the lead, and that's not even a championship driver. That's Josh Adams in the 95 car. What a run he's having.
Yes, and he's going to power around that 48 car and move that 95 to the top of the board for the first time here tonight. Now the 48 car is setting his sights, and this could be a championship-changing pass. It will be, as the 83 of Shane's been able to get around his teammate there. He'll slice to the inside. Whoa, close quarter racing as he gets to the inside of the 95 car, who powers up high. He'll be able to power on and away from the 83 car that time by, but wow, we have a difference of a leader and the championship picture all in one lap.
Yeah, this is big. Shane Terrian, that huge pace there early on, and here he comes. He's going for the lead. He's going for trying to just build up that gap as much as possible, and in theory, if he's able to get to that point where he has the track position and the clean air, maybe he doesn't have that same loose nature late in the run, and that would be huge for this 83 car. But the raw pace has been in Shane Terrian's favor. It just hasn't worked out for him on the long runs, but right now, this is everything he's hoped for. Despite the early issues in this race, Shane Terrian leading this championship and looking to lead this race.
Yes, he's done a great job. Just the exact opposite of Tate Lytle, who's now actually fallen back to the 12th position there outside the top 10. And it's crazy to think about how we were wondering. We were really worried about this 83 car. Would the cautions be able to fall his way? It looks just that. And interesting to note, if we do get another yellow flag, around the 164 range that would put himself right in that kind of sweet spot area in order to try and challenge for this thing. 3 of our championship contenders all running second, third, and fourth, nose to tail.
Yeah, this is some incredible racing up front that we've got right now. Short run pace especially, we see guys getting feisty and trying to get this track position, and sometimes we'll see them dropping off here, especially, we talk about Shane Terry and Johnny Thomas and Chad Frankenfield up inside this top 6 group right here that you see on screen are guys that have had great short run speed, but that has kind of fallen off. But right now, kind of shuffled up as Shane Terry has this advantage. The track position and how this is going to play out is so crucial. For the first time, Nick Massey staring at 2 bumpers in front of him, and Tyler Fody just hanging out back, maybe thinking right now, hey, now that Massey has to deal with some dirty air as well, I'll save my tires a little bit more and then take advantage once the guys in front start to fall off maybe. But let's see how this plays out, because this has completely shaken up this championship picture on this most recent restart.
And don't rule out that 56 car still, because we still are on the cusp of what could be our longest green flag run. If it goes all the way to the finish there, that 56 car we know is the fastest as far as having a long run speed and having it work toward him in his goal. So we'll see if perhaps the cautions can fall his way, and that would be not at all in order to make this right to the end. Man, this race just all got turned on its head all at once there, Rashava. I don't know what to expect here.
Yeah, I really don't either. This was an intriguing restart there, just in terms of the people who came up. But here we go. Could this be a little bit of transition here? Shane Terry now having to defend from Nick Massey, and does Nick Massey, after maybe not the strongest of restarts, coming back and starting to assert his dominance? This 48 car has been strong on those restarts and then has been even stronger, I think, as the run goes on. Again, I'd say the most complete car in the field right now is that 48 of Massey. We're starting to see that kind of play out a little bit. Shane Terry, that short run pace helped him on those first 10, 15 laps of the run. But now we're getting into the part of the race where the 48 car has the advantage, and he does complete that move on Terrian. Fody's going to want to try and get by Terrian as quickly as possible. But Josh Adams right now could potentially be Tyler Fody's best friend if Adams can keep Nick Massey contained.
Yeah, and this is something that we have not seen. That 48 car, he was, put back into the 3rd position. That is the deepest we have seen him since really the start of the race. He's been able to control this field. He even controlled that last restart there before that 95 and the 83 were able to get around him. So we really don't know what to expect out of that 48 car, but it looks like he has been able to show kind of that mid-range speed, if you will, and it play a factor as well as blinking we've seen out of that 48 car there. But now, with the laps beginning to wind down on this stint, he's really been able to solidify himself in front of that 83 car and that 40 car. He's already had that speed in front of that 40 all really race long. We'll see if that 48 car can get around that 95.
Yeah, that's the big question, and up front, it is just 0.2 of a second between the 48 and the 95, but Adams has had good pace and has matched Nick Massey on all of these most recent laps. Same with Shane Terry and Tyler Fody. They've kind of been matching each other as well, but a little bit slower than Adams and Massey, and here you're starting to see the separation. I think Fody maybe a little bit held up by Terry, and Massey maybe a little bit held up by Adams. As Massey does have an opportunity now to look to the inside in turn 3. This is huge. If he's able to get by Adams while Fody stays stuck behind his teammate Terrian, this could be a massive shift in terms of advantage towards Nick Massey, but he doesn't quite get clear there of the 95 car. He's going to try again here in turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like the 95 car using the outside lane, kind of used that bite out of the corner there, have the straight speed he needs on exit and keep that 48 car pinched underneath him. Still side by side for the lead. Joshua Adams not inside the championship picture, really not letting that affect him, and perhaps is using that to his advantage, knowing that these guys are racing for a bit more. That 48 car, he might want the win, but right now, currently where he sits, he'll have $500 in his wallet should everything go his way. Doing a great job, these front two, as we get just 50 to go. Next time by, here's the battle for 3rd place. The 40 is underneath the 83. Shane beginning to fall back. I'm telling you, though, if we get another caution, watch out for that 83 car.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if we have a green-white checker, watch out for that 83 car especially. But yeah, Tyler Fody right now has to get by this 83 car. The crossover already happened, I think, 5 or 6 laps ago. And Fody right now not being able to get by Shane Terrian is really hurting his opportunities as a battle continues to wage on for the lead of this race here. Nick Massey, Josh Adams. Massey still can't get by, but Tyler Fody trying the outside move now on Terrian. And I think that outside lane a little bit quicker for overtaking. It'll get the run off of turn number 2, and that should clear Tyler Fody from Terrian. It does. Now he has to try and get to Nick Massey's bumper before Massey can get by this 95.
Yes, and that's the same run or same position on the racetrack that we see that 95 car who gets loose off the corner there is going to allow that 48 car a chance to look underneath, perhaps in turn 1. Not necessarily that time by, but yes, that outside lane able to be used by the 40 car, and now he's been able to try and have clean racetrack in order to work his way back to the back bumper of the 48 car.
Here he comes,
Massey,
side by
once
side.
again underneath. This is some great racing here.
Yeah, off of turn number 4, side by side, and continuing side by side through 1 and 2. They get very close there in turn number 2, but they stay clean racing here. Fantastic defensive effort here from Josh Adams, and Nick Massey's giving everything he's got here, sliding that car down the inside, running that bottom lane that he's loved so far this race, but it's just not quite getting him past the 95 car. Adams right now, such good plant off of the corner, and is getting that run off the corner, but this is the best opportunity we've seen yet from the 48. Doesn't quite get there. Had a nose in front mid-corner, but the 95 so good coming off of these corners.
Yes, and we're about 10 laps away from that window there. Will we see a car spin out, or will we see these guys that are racing, having so much success, beginning to have to go from track position survival to tire survival? Because guess who's making his way up inside the picture is that 56 car, Tate Lytle. He was in 12th. Last time I checked, he's up to 8th, making short work of the guys around him.
Yeah, definitely cannot count out Lytle quite yet. 8th position right now on the racetrack, as there's just a ton of great racing going on behind these guys. 3 wide, Frankenfield, Razimus, Campbell.
That's the thing he doesn't want to see. Hunter Smith taking it 3 wide. There is contact between the 15 and, who is that? The 31. Wow, this is going to be it. Chad Frankenfield and Jeff Green get into it, and just like that, the yellow flag comes out. I knew that was going to happen there. The way they were racing right there, they surely were acting like a yellow was going to come out, and unfortunately, Chad Frankenfield and Jeff Green were the cause of our 5th yellow flag of the night.
Damn, 7 laps before I thought it was going to happen there. I said 164. Dave said 161. 157 was the lap, but more or less on the money there.
I said it right when I saw them 3 wide on the front stretch. There was no way they were going to be able to decide this. Hunter Smith, he makes the dive bomb kind of inside. That forces that 31 car to get into the 15 just a little bit. And then the 15 just gets loose. I don't think he was expecting to be that high on the racetrack there. The car just not. Wow, who's that? That banged off another competitor there. There was one, I think it was it a Red Bull car?
It might have been.
I didn't know that would have been. Someone just, in order to miss, suddenly stopped Jeff Green. He careened to the right.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about, I believe.
Or, excuse me, the left, and that banged right into the side of another competitor. Don't know who that was, though.
I think that's going to be Wyatt Knadel here. We'll take a look at the onboard. 15 deemed at fault for that. Here's the wreck going on in front. Knadel dives to the inside, and there's that contact you just barely saw on the left-hand side, the 88 that he made contact with, just avoiding that wreck. So,
so it was Trey Holmes, the unfortunate person to result in that. Yellow flag is out, so that takes out a green flag pit stop in tonight's race. That means we just have 40 laps, and does that work right into the hands of the 83? That's still tough. That is still tough for that 83 car in order to overcome with that short run speed.
We're going to hop back to the Whiskey Cast replay here because Shane Tarian had a slow stop. Did he just over? I think he did. He just barely. We'll see this here on the replay, but he
So
just
did Nick Massey.
barely, or sorry, Nick Massey is the one who I'm saying had a slow stop. There you see he just overshoots it, and that drops him from second down to fourth now, effective third in the championship. Tyler Fody now with the advantage launching off, but I think Shane Tarian is in the absolute best position, starting in that third position right behind our pole sitter.
Yeah, that mistake there doesn't seem like much, but that's a $250 of a mistake right there. If you're taking a look at that. But we're still 40 laps. 40 laps away. Unfortunately, the caution's not going the way that I believe Tate Lytle wanted to see it all. I don't believe, unless there's some serious adjusting on that Toyota Camry, I just don't think it's going to play into the hands of that 56 car. However, the gloves are not off yet.
No,
we don't know if things are going to get physical between these top three, and he just be in the right place, the right time, as we've seen time and time and time again.
Yeah, exactly. The right place, right time for sure is certainly played out in championship races before in the Cup Series. But no, I mean, I think Lytle, if he has it in him, we'll see him be able to adjust to a short run. I think he was better on the intermediate that time around on this most recent run. He didn't have to be, he wasn't, falling back the same number of laps that we saw, and he kind of recovered, especially towards the end there and a little bit earlier in that run than we've normally seen. So hopefully that's kind of how it works out for him, and we can have a four-way fight up front. Restarting P8 hopefully works out for him, but I mean, initially, I look at Shane Tarian to be the guy to launch off early here, starting in P3. I think he has the best starting position as well as the best short-run car. Tyler Fody, for the first time with track position advantage over Nick Massey, though, is going to be something else to watch out for.
Can you hold your breath for 38 laps?
You're going to need to.
That's all that is left of the season here, this 2022 Season A for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. We're going to come down to a short stint. All of our Championship 4 pitchers inside this picture still running inside the top 10, led by Joshua Adams, who has had a great resurgence, come to life late in this one. Nick Massey, though, holds the most laps led so far, and perhaps probably will this entire race. I don't think the 95 can get to him, but we'll find out with the pace car about to duck for cover. And that allows that outside lane to get going. And you see the 40 actually was not on the gas. That's going to bottleneck the chances of Tarian, who's now right on the back bumper of that 40 car. And Nick Massey trying to get around him, trying to salvage something out of that slow pit stop. He does so. He'll go to the outside of the 40 car. Yellow flag immediately out. A caution on the backstretch.
And here we go. Potentially, this could be where we start to see cautions beat cautions. But interesting there, short or very slow restart from the 40 car bottles up that inside lane, but Nick Massey not able to capitalize on that. He does get by Shane Tarian, but you'd have thought he'd get by the 40 car as well with that restart position. And
I think he was well on there before the yellow flag came out, so we'll see. That had to happen immediately in turn 2, which has been Calamity Corner all night long.
Looks like it's Dustin Dewar and Chad Frankenfield, the two cars involved in this most recent one. We'll take a look. It looks like they're actually two separate incidents here. So here's the Dewar incident. Side by side with the 19 of David Tooker, and just loses that rear end there on the entry of turn 1. Chad Frankenfield, I think we saw there just the start of that. Frankenfield ducks to avoid and slams into a couple of other competitors.
Thankful that looks like it'll be a reacting to the 32, so I think the tally will go on the 32. We saw a tally already issued on the 15 from the last wreck.
Yeah.
Andrew Rucker. Scott Haney in the 3 car does a great job getting around, and you see the 9, Rusty Capel, go for a spin.
Keeps it pointed in the right direction, though, for Capel. But yeah, there you go. Back to caution there. So a little bit of a shift on the restart there in terms of positions. Really, it was Massey over Tarian, and back to caution here. And Again, the question is now, does the aggression start picking up? That more so looked like it was just, again, it was just that error from Dustin Dewar, had to result in reaction from Frankenfield that brought out that incident. So not really the tight quarters racing incidents, but could we start to see those here as again, the laps start to wind down?
Could we see an issue or a mistake like that manifest itself inside the top 5 among one of our championship contenders, you know, late in this race? We don't know. But what do you call it? We'll have about this puts us right in that sweet spot for that 83. In fact, anything moving forward really goes into the hand of that 83 car there. As far as this cycle of tires, we'll see what happens as well. Because with the heat cycles, I don't expect these guys to go down pit road. Really, perhaps again, unless, you know, we do get a little bit of a longer green flag run and perhaps 20 or so laps we decide. But wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that would be really interesting. I think you know, interesting message again from Dave, and I think he brings up a good point. Is Tate Lytle on pace alone, I think, might just be out of it now. He's got that car set up for long runs, and there's no more long runs available for these drivers to end this race. It's still going to be about 32 laps, and that's just on the edge of where that 56 car is comfortable with his run length. It's tough to see him challenging these top 3 guys. Made kind of a calculation to build a long-run car, hope for those long runs. They just haven't been quite as long as he's needed them, and I think that might have backfired on him tonight. Again, very much still open, and the possibilities are still open for that 56 car, but on pure pace alone, it feels like he's kind of out of the picture right now, and it's between these top 3 cars in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
And that's unfortunately just been the name of the game so far. We've had cautions kind of average around the 34 lap or so range. Not really have we seen a long green flag run, and we won't see that at all now, currently under caution. So I would agree there that 56 car, unfortunately, that strategy just not working out right now, but it's not over. We by no means do not count out that 56 yet, because these guys that have been battling amongst themselves could very much get into one another. We could have a Carl Edwards type issue late in this one.
Oh yeah, no, it's certainly not out of the question yet. Yeah, long way to go in this race. Still a lot to play for, and again, we've got a really exciting restart coming up. You've got those 3 championship contenders all lined up alongside each other. Josh Adams then leading the field to green. Yeah, it's all to play for here, and I think all 3 of these guys can turn it on for the short run. Look to the 83 to be the best on the shortest short run, but then the 48 and 40 to come back at him as we continue on.
So green flag, excuse me, I was trying to get back with my dog. Green flag about to be back in the air. Joshua Adams, the control car, Tyler Fody in control of the championship picture. We'll see what happens here as we get, once again, back underway at Iowa. The 48 car, Nick Massey, going to try and use the bottom of the racetrack. That's where he's been so strong all race long. The 40 dives underneath to protect that lane, and he'll get in front of the 48 car. He opens up the outside lane, though, for the 83. Ooh. Shane Terrian doing a great job. In the wall goes the 91 of Johnny Thomas just behind these guys. Covering the spot is that 95 car, but the 83, a 2-for-1. He's trying to get to the outside of the 40 car, and he'll try to take the championship picture all in one move. He'll do so out of turn 2.
Yeah, 40 got tight underneath the 95, and that hurt him for the rest of that lap and into this lap as well. He's still recovering from that right now. Meanwhile, Terrian, we know this car is so strong in these first few laps, and he's trying to maximize it right now. Right now has the track position, has the championship position, but again, wants that lead, wants to get in front of Josh Adams so that he doesn't have to worry about these guys behind. He doesn't have to worry about the dirty air coming onto the nose of that 83, and he can start to control the race as the runs get longer. But Tyler Fody still defending from Terrian's teammate Nick Massey here, and Fody needs to try and get back at it. He had a strong restart, but just a little bit tight in turn number 3, lost him all of that momentum that he gained.
Tate Lytle not creeping out of the picture this time as well. He's in the 6th position. That's actually the highest we have seen that 56 car. Taking a challenge underneath Daniel Martinez. He'll take the 5th spot away. And suddenly all 4 of our championship 4 competitors are running 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th behind the 95 of Joshua Adams.
I was going to say, I guess don't ever count out Tate Lytle. Apologies for what I said on that last caution, because Tate Lytle, we said, didn't quite have the car to go for that short run speed, and then he's just turned on the burners on this run. So now it is all to play for between these drivers. Shane Terrian, we know, great on the short run, is leading this pack, but if we stay green here, he could fall off. Tyler Fody, Nick Massey, both kind of just strong all throughout the run. Tate Lytle, notoriously strong as the run gets long, following these guys. This could play out very interestingly. If this stays green to the end, I genuinely do not know who will have the pace advantage at the end of this one now.
My goodness, and just as the lap counter is about to tick over there, Rish, I was going to ask, what do we expect? It looks like calamity out of these 4. How about some chaos? That's what we've ordered for these guys.
I'm calling a 4-way tie. We're going to go to California for it to we're going to have a whole Cars movie play out here. I'm not calling a race winner here. I'm not messing with any of these guys. We're going to have a great finish.
That's some juju. I'm not even, it's been a championship of something I do not want to have on my content at all there. But right now, each one of these guys doing all they can to prove that they are #1 for the season. How about Shane, the rookie, trying to take it away from the veterans behind him? The 48 car, Massey, though, looking underneath that 40 car, and he has Tate Lytle right behind him.
Yeah, Massey at the quarter panel of the 40 car now, looking to the inside. 40's just able to clear him. And all these guys kind of feel bottled up behind Shane Terrian because Josh Adams is walking away with this win right now, 0.7 of a second ahead of Terrian, as the rest of these championship drivers fight it out amongst themselves. This is fantastic racing here, and Tate Lytle just lurking here behind as Massey loose off of turn number 4 as he's still trying to get a run on Tyler Fody.
Yes, these guys have been gapped a little bit by that 83 car, but meanwhile, the first car we know kind of falls off on that short run speed is that 83 car. Will he be able to use the track position to keep the guys behind him just exactly that, behind him, or will we see these guys be able to eat him up? Wow, the 31 of Gerald Campbell and Hunter Smith, close quarter racing behind these championship 4 picture. Everybody trying to get the best finish they can this season.
Absolutely, yeah, that's been the focus, but meanwhile, we've been focused on this championship battle because it's been so interesting throughout the night, and it's gone back and forth amongst these drivers. Right now, it is, like you said, advantage Shane Terrian, and he's pulling away from this group. However, Tyler Fody, Nick Massey going side by side, it's going to take away some of that lap time, but again, we know these guys are eventually going to catch this 83 car. We know that at some point there's going to be a crossover. The question is, does that come before or after the checkered flag? And if it's before, are there enough laps and enough opportunity for guys to catch up? But Tate Lytle is loving this battle between the 40 and the 48 car because it's keeping him in touch with them, and he's eventually going to have that pace advantage over them.
Yes, that is certainly true. As we see the 48 car now migrate to the outside, he gets around that 40 car, and this time he'll be able to have the bite off the corner there. We'll see if that 48 car can do so. He's extremely high in turn 3 and 4, but he uses that to his advantage and move that 48 car back to 3rd position around the 40 car. Tate Lytle trying to follow. He won't be able to do so that time by.
Yeah, Lytle now needs to get by the 40 car. I think 40, as crazy as it is to say, the 40 car suddenly looks like the weakest car in this packet. I think that's just how the momentum has shifted so quickly amongst these cars, and Lytle needs to clear him if he wants to have a shot at this championship. Nick Massey still looks like the strongest shot for a championship, as we know he has that long run pace. We know he has that ability to theoretically to get by Shane Terrian if the run goes green, 18 to go. But man, it's still close behind him, and I certainly wouldn't count out Terrian's ability to defend that position, because now, despite that being a teammate behind, I'm sure any team, teammate respect there goes out the door. He'll race Nick Massey as hard as he needs to keep that position. When it's $500 on the line, he'll do whatever it takes.
Exactly there. And we know that 48 car, he knows he can get around that weighing in his mind, as we see Tate Lytle try to take a look underneath. Can't get it done. We'll try to keep both these battles inside one picture. Here goes the 56 underneath the 40 car. They're side by side at a turn number 4. Looks like 40 hangs on. Wow, 16 laps to go in this season, and we still have no clue who's going to win this championship at all.
Yeah, 16 laps to go in this championship, and 0.8 of a second covers all 4 drivers involved in this championship battle. What an incredible night it's been. I genuinely did not see this coming when we started this race. It looked kind of like a 2-horse race between Massey and Fody, and Terrien and Lytle have found it as the runs come on, as the race has played out. But right now, Terrien having to defend like crazy from Nick Massey, who's just running that solid bottom line. He loves to just wrap that bottom lane there. Terrien trying to just take it a little bit different, use the advantage that he had, but I think it's starting to, again, slip away from him just a little. We're seeing him struggle just ever so slight with the rear end just through these cameras. We're not seeing the big snaps anymore, but it's a little bit harder to drive that car into the corner when you don't have the rear end that you trust, and Nick Massey is right there on the bumper of that 83 car. It feels like it's only a matter of time before he gets by, but still a fantastic defensive effort from Terrien right now, and he could still very well hang on to this thing.
And it's crazy to think about. Not only are you trying to run for a championship, but now you got to race your teammate there with the utmost respect. You don't want to be the guy that sends the teammate into the wall, whether you're the 83 or the 48. So these guys, they're focused on one thing, the championship picture. Joshua Adams, though, has been up the road. He's a good about 0.6 of a second in front. Actually, he's a full second and change in front of that 83 car. As we see, whoa, Tate Lytle get really, really close to that outside safe barrier, and the yellow is out. 7th one of the night.
So now what do you do?
Well, the question remains, like just like what we saw. Do we see people decide to stay out here? This is very going to be interesting because as we take a look to see what brought out our Whiskey Cash replay.
Here, Gerald Campbell, the cause of this. 15 car goes up the racetrack. Campbell kind of makes contact there in the 44, the 15, the 32. All come together there on the racetrack. The 66 is well caught up in that one as well.
A couple of reigning champions bringing out the yellow flag here and putting us into a what do you do now scenario. The 95. I do as well, too, but the question is how many people will pit behind you?
Yeah, I was going to say, who takes that risk? Josh Adams comes down pit road, Shane Terrien, Nick Massey, Tyler Fody, Tate Lytle, they're all pitting. They all know that tires are the way, and I think the entire field agrees that tires are the way forward.
So not going to have a Nashville-type scenario there where we saw about half the field stay out.
That would have been one heck of a racing incident there on that caution, but here we go. Fresh tires for everybody.
This is what we call the money stop right here. You cannot afford a mistake. Looks like everybody's going to stop in their box there. Cleanly. The 83 is out front first.
Terrien wins the race off pit road. Tyler Fody then next off of pit road. Massey with a slow stop. Lytle with a slow stop. That's huge implications for the championship. Oh, here we go.
It really is.
This is why. Shane Terrien, Tyler Fody, 2 tires. Nick Massey, Tate Lytle, 4 tires. There's your strategy difference.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. And we did have 2 competitors stay out, the 32, or at least, I'm sorry, 1. Looks like just Dustin's going to stay out there, and I believe he will go back. Will he decide to relinquish that position? I don't know. We'll find out. That car has been damaged. It was involved. He got hit hard on the front stretch.
Oh, man, I don't know. We're going to go back to green with probably 7 laps or so to go. Shane Terrien, Tyler Fody, 2 tires stop. Man.
It's a gamble. It is a gamble. And there is some...
I like the gamble. I like the gamble.
Exactly, because there are other people that did so as well. I believe Trevor Elam, did he take 2 tires as well? Josh Adams took 4, which is going to be even tougher for Massey and Lytle.
but Elam and Isabella both took 2 as well. Dustin Dewar obviously hasn't come down pit road. We don't know if that car will. It doesn't appear that he will. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be extremely interesting here. I'd imagine that Dewar will relinquish that lead to Terrian and Fody relatively quickly as we get back to green flag racing. So you have Terrian and Fody with that clean air, 2 tires. Man. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. I like that 2-tire call. That feels like a really good call to me, and I think it's going to be very difficult for Massey and Lytle to overcome that. But we'll see.
This is why I get paid to be in the booth, because I do not want to be on the pit box making the decision, trying to figure out exactly what to do. We're going to have about 6 laps to go, so it looks like we're going to double up this time by. That 83 car, this short run speed, but with 2 tires, we don't know. We've not seen 2 tires play out at all.
Yeah, we don't know how this car is going to handle, what's gonna happen, and just the wear characteristics. Can you actually run comfortably on 2 tires? I don't know.
And are we done seeing the last yellow flag? It looks like Dustin is going to stay to the high side there. One thing I have not, seen at all this race has been the choose code. Looks like we don't have that feature, so these guys haven't been able to pick what lane as well. So how they came out on pit road is going to be where they start, unless you're the leader, and it looks like 32 is going to elect to start on the outside. The good news for the 83 is that he is going to be in front of the 40 car. He'll have control of the championship picture and probably this race when it comes down to it. But can he hang on for 6 laps, and will those other guys be able to navigate around slower traffic? All these questions are about to be answered here in the Days Gone By championship finale. Dustin Dewar gets the jump. 6 laps to go here at Iowa.
Here comes Fody.
Way to the inside.
For the championship lead, Tyler Fody to the inside on Shane Terrian. Terrian, though, with that line up top, and now Fody gets blocked in by the 32. Shane Terrian holds that championship lead. Here comes the 95 car. Huge run down the back straightaway, and there is pace in those 4-tire cars. Look at Tate Lytle and the run he had on this restart.
Yes, and now they swallow up the 32 car with 5 laps to go. Shane Terrian is able to get around, but that 56 car, Tate Lytle, able to try and snake in between the 29 and the 40, thinks better of it. Does he have enough time to get around both the cars in front of him?
Here he goes. Tate Lytle has to be careful. That 29 car kind of blocking him in here with Tyler Fody on the bottom. Lytle needs to push that 29 car along as he gets to try and get an opportunity. Do we have a caution flag out on the track? No, not yet. We have cars all over the track, but still we stay green, and Lytle to the outside of Fody. Tate Lytle, could he be the first driver ever in Elite Racing League's history to go back-to-back championships in the Cup Series? He's now in 2nd place and chasing down Shane Terrian. Terrian on 2 tires, Lytle on 4. Lytle with the fastest lap of the race last time by.
Wow, he has come to life, and we've always said you cannot count out that 56 car out, but he's going to have the drive of his life in order to try and chase down that 83 car who's been pretty stellar on those 2 tires. 2 laps to go this time by, and it looks like no caution in the rest of the field there. They just got to make it back to the white and then the checker. 83 still has about half a car length in front of that 56 car and the Fody of Tyler Fody as well.
Lytle's going to need a monster effort on this lap to try and get by the 83 car of Shane Terrian. Terrian gets the white flag. 1 more lap in this 2022 A Championship. Lytle with 4, Shane Terrian with 2. Can the rookie get it done? Can the reigning champ get it done? Tate Lytle's right on the bumper.
He had a bobble in turn 2 there that's going to allow the 56 car. Does the bump and run decide the championship picture? The 83 car loose, the 56 car underneath, side by side. The reigning champ back-to-back wins in the championship. Tate Lytle wins the race and the championship for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series.
You wanted controversy, you got it. Tate Lytle, what a drive there.
Four tires had been fourth all race long, and now a back-to-back championship picture for that Pro Edge Racing Toyota Camry. What a day, what a night, what a season it's been for Tate Lytle.
I mean, incredible. I'm in awe of what Tate Lytle did to end that race. Sorry, I shouldn't even say. I mean, race winner, of course, Tate Lytle, but I mean, champion Tate Lytle.
He led a grand total of 1 lap.
Wow. I mean, that's all it takes. I mean, just incredible run there at the end, and I will put my hand up and say, Tate, I am sorry for counting you out with 30 laps to go. I am so sorry, because Tate Lytle turned a car that looked so one-sided as a long-run car and turned it into one of the best short-run cars. Obviously had that tire advantage that worked out well for him, but oh my gosh, this pace that we saw Tate Lytle restart with, and you can't even say it was just the tires, because Nick Massey finished in 7th. Nick Massey didn't get that same restart that Tate Lytle did. Lytle
and it was all about that run. I believe the lane as well. I think that lane choice happened, or not lane choice, but just the lane that he was in versus what the 48 car was insanely helped him.
Oh my gosh. Tate Lytle, congratulations. You're 2-time now defending champion of the Elite JoinAPS Cup Series, and he's absolutely going to burn it down there. How about that as well? The Dayz Gone By Vintage Apparel race won by Dayz Gone By Vintage Apparel sponsored race car.
Yeah, that is that was awesome, and it came down to that last lap. I don't think what we saw from the 56 car, we can go back. Perhaps we can take a look and see that replay. I don't think what the 56 car did was by any means any type of crash or just egregious at all. I think we saw the 83 car get loose, and he was going to get loose on those older tires anyway there. He had a snap on that very in turn 2 just a little bit that allowed the 56 car to get right on his back bumper.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything. Obviously, that's a clear bump and run there from Tate Lytle, but that's also that's not a move that you would look at and say, oh, that's not cool. When you're going for a championship, he didn't dive bomb it like crazy. He was right there anyways. I'd say that's fair game to Tate Lytle there. Shane Terrian may have a different opinion, but we'll take a look, and this is what it looked like. The pass for the championship.
Right there was right where he allowed that 56 car the momentum. But yep.
There it was. Just that little bump. It wasn't even that significant, just a tiny little bump. Obviously, Terrian kind of got loose, and then they ended up hitting Tyler Fody, and those two spun around across the start-finish line.
In front of Nick Massey, who was unable to capitalize. The most dominant car of the night is going to end up with no money at all.
Well, he'll still have prize money. No worries there.
Okay, that's good. I didn't know exactly how much, but wow, just wow! What a night and season it has been for Tate Lytle. Now our first back-to-back JoinAPS.com Cup Series champion. We'll get him in here momentarily. I know he will be celebrating. I know Pro Edge Racing is going to be celebrating. What a night as you take a look at the race results here. But yeah, that finish won for the record books.
Certainly, and let's talk to our now 2-time defending series champion, Tate Lytle. Tate, I'm going to take credit by saying I gave you a reverse commentator's curse, because with 30 laps to go, I did ultimately count you out because I said you only had a long-run car, but you certainly proved me wrong. And what a run you had to the end there. That first run before the final caution, finding that short-run pace that you're able to put on, and then the 4-tire stop looked like a risk that might not pay off. But then that restart that you had, and then that final move on Shane Terrian. Just talk us through your night and the transition you realized you had to make from, in those first 150 laps of a very clear long-run car that really needed 40 laps to get up to speed, or to that short-run car that ended up winning a race in 10 laps.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was I really don't even remember the last couple laps. I know that last it's been like third to last yellow with like 80 to go. I was like, man, if this goes green, we got a good chance, because I had like a really like tire save line that I was doing, and it'd take about 25 laps for us to even out, but then we start slowly picking away at them. And right when those cautions would come out, we'd be 2-3 tenths faster than them. And yeah, I mean, I was pretty bummed when that caution came out with 35 or whatever to go. I knew that I had the pace of those guys just because I raced them in practice. I just knew that passing all three of them was going to be borderline impossible. And then when that last caution came out, I don't know in what world 2 tires was going to work. I mean, it almost did. But I was taking 4 all day long and got in the right line and took my buddy Trevor Elam 3 wide there, I think. And then I was going to dive it to the bottom on Shane, and he blocked it off and gave him just a little bit of the bumper, just enough. And looks like he ended up turning it down and wrecking a couple people after the line. But yeah, when I came across the line, I think I fist pumped and screamed about as loud as I could. Those poor guys in my chat, but it was what a race, man.
It was something that we did not expect there from that 56 car. Even though you've shown time after time, now a 2-time champion, this is exactly your wheelhouse. Something that we expect out of this 56 car. It's so crazy for us to even consider that you might be off your game. And you led. You want to know how many laps you led here tonight? I'm sure you already know. One.
About a sixth of one, yeah.
Yes. What does it mean to be the first 2-time champion in this league?
I mean, it means a lot, man. I literally hear about 6 months and a week ago, they were saying like, oh, when's Tate going to get his championship? They'd have those polls like, who's the best driver in Elite without a championship? And I'd win it. And I'm like, man, I don't want to be that guy. And I think we're 4 for 4 in championship 4 since then. So, I mean, at some point the luck's got to run out, but we're gonna ride that heater all the way home if we can. It's and then for the 56 car to win all 3 championships this week, Pro Edge Racing to win all 3 championships this week, and then the Dayz Gone By car to win 2 of them this week. I don't know how you could draw it up any better. Dayz Gone By has been a big help. I mean, he sponsors the championship week. He sponsors all of my cars, and Brent Wentz is just a stand-up dude that just loves racing, and he's got this company of his that he started, I guess it's probably been 4-ish years ago, maybe even more. I've known about it for 4-ish years. And he's got all these, signs and posters. And, every once in a while you'll see a neon sign up there. And he's just got all sorts of cool stuff on there. So you better check him out. He does a lot for me and a lot for the league. And if you're still on the broadcast listening to me, then you must care a little bit. Go on there. Dayz Gone By on Twitter. He's got his Etsy page, his Etsy page linked in there. And big shout out to him. Big shout out to Jonathan Smith, JD Designs. Best dressed. I feel like I'm best dressed week in and week out. I've been running the same paint scheme for 2 or 3 seasons now, and I don't plan on changing anytime soon. So shout out to him. I know he's trying to slow down a little bit, but I'll give him a plug anyway. And just shout out to Pro Edge Racing. Me and Ethan and Tucker, we had a weekend, 2 or 3 weeks ago and hung out, and we were talking about this very thing. And I'm just glad that it kind of came to fruition, and glad that I could be the one that helped it come to fruition. And yeah, what a race. I didn't really think we had a shot there unless it went green, but like I told you guys last time, I don't have the confidence in this track, but when you're in the final 4, anything can happen, and you can never count yourself out, and I think I proved that there in the last couple laps.
You definitely did there. Incredible run there, and again, congratulations, Tate. 2-time Cup Series champion, first to do it in back-to-back seasons, and like you mentioned, for the 56 to hold all 3 titles at the end of 2022A is something special. So enjoy this one, man, and we can't wait to see you back there in 5 weeks' time for the 500.
Also, shout out to the guy I got the 56 from. I wore it in high school football and stuff. I think he just texted me, so he must be watching. Shout out to my dad. He he I don't know when the last time he played a video game was, but he sure watches me play this about twice a week. So shout out to him. Shout out to little sister and stepmom too. They're probably not wanting to watch it, but still are. So shout out to them for sticking it out. And I'm sure they didn't think we would be there, but here we are.
All right, well, that's Tate Lytle, the now two-time reigning champion, and we'll get to say that there next, all season long. Next time. I can't believe that. So congratulations there, Tate. You have a lot to celebrate. So we'll let you go ahead and enjoy it with the boys. Crack a cold one for us.
Already have. Woo! See you guys.
Tate Lytle there, your championship winner. And I don't want to skip on Josh Adams entirely, but we'll talk to our championship second place finisher before we do that. And we'll bring in Shane Terrian before we speak to Adams. Shane, obviously a fantastic night that you had tonight. Very interesting to see the way your car handled over the course of the run versus others, and I think that was one of the most, certainly for us, entertaining in the early parts of the race, and then as it played out, those short runs playing in your favor. Talk us through that last lap, your thoughts on that, obviously being on the receiving end, and how that race played out as a whole.
I don't know. This was an up and down race all race long. I was so mad. I just wanted to pull it over, put it in the wall. I was so frustrated all day. And then I had a chance to do it. It just got used as a break. I don't really know what to say. I don't know. I mean, I guess for a championship, that's not how I race. So it just sucks to be raced like that. But he got it. He did what he had to do.
Well, coming into that final lap, it looked like you got a little bit loose. Walk us through the decision to make it 2 tires on that last pit call. Was that anything to do with just trying to get out there and control this race there? Why the decision to go with 2 tires?
I just wanted to be in front. I was hoping to restart the leader and go when I wanted to go, but the 32 stayed out, who was just in the wreck before, so it was just kind of mind-boggling. But yeah, I got loose in one because I hit the gas a little too early. I hit the bump and just wiggled, and I wasn't trying to block Tate. I was just trying to get to the middle because I knew he was going to dive bomb, but he didn't dive bomb. He just hit me. So yeah, it's just thought 2 tires would work. It was working, but just came up short.
Well, we can certainly imagine your frustration there, but I suppose talk to us about the season as a whole. Obviously, stepping into the elite racing leagues, we talked about this a couple of times over the course of the year. But to step into, I think a very competitive league, as a rookie, and to come all the way as far as the championship 4 and ultimately finish second in the championship, certainly have to be proud of that effort as a whole. I totally understand it's not the end result you were hoping for, but in the first season, I'd imagine there's a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, the second half of the season. The first half, besides finishing second at the down to 500, but yeah, just didn't have luck. It was definitely a lot of downs for a little bit, and then come playoffs, the ups came and it's got 2 wins, and I'm happy with the outcome. A little bummed out right now to really think about that at the moment.
Well, we don't want you to feel too bummed out. You're still walking away with at least $225 in your pocket there, and an incredible season, in one that we'll be talking about for quite some time as far as recent memory for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. Want to give you the chance, though, to shout out anyone and anything you'd like there on a spectacular season so far. Second place, nothing too shabby at all.
Yeah, I need to thoroughly thank my sponsor, FRN, especially the owner, because that first run, I was so mad, and he's just sitting there coaching me, telling me, just chin up, you got this, focus. So big thanks to him. He really wanted one of his cars to win. Unfortunately, a late caution took that chance away. So thanks to FRN, Elite for having us. I'm hoping next year it's gonna be different.
All right. right, well, congratulations still. Heck of a rookie season, heck of a run for the championship there. Shane Tarian, second place, walks away with $225 there. Congratulations on a great season, man, and we can't wait to see what we can expect from you next season.
Thank you.
All right, Shane Tarian, then. We are going to move on to our second place finisher there. Not one of our championship contenders, but still put it together a spectacular race here, and that's going to be Josh Adams there. Sorry, it took a little while to get to you there, Josh, keeping you waiting, but what a drive that you put together there. Led kind of after, I think it was that 6th or 7th caution that we had on the racetrack, about 30 to 40 laps to go in this one, took over the lead and kind of ran away with it from the rest of these guys. And while everybody else was squabbling for a championship, you kind of walked away with that lead. Unfortunately, that late race caution kind of put you back a little bit, 4-tire stop, but then still coming home P2 here. Talk about the strength of the car that you had there today and what it means to go out on as much of a high as possible, I think, heading into the off season.
Oh yeah. I wasn't very good the first half of the race. Like I could run top 3, and then I would, I guess, kind of drive my tires off. I would go loose and then tight, and guys would catch me, and like I was battling that for a while. And then a couple restarts to go, I'm like, I'm just gonna get up on the wheel and try and pass Nick and try and run in front of him and see what happens. And I feel like having the clean air out front was the key. But of course, the guys, racing for nothing, just like every other race, ruined it for my possibility to win. It made the championship exciting at the end, but I guess that's what they want.
Josh, you had a great run there so far, and one of the best of the season there. Just walk us through what it's been like this whole season there, and what you're looking forward to for next.
Yeah, I definitely struggled with consistency in a lot of races. Had some wrecks and whatever. Just never really put myself in position to win one of them until tonight. Like we won the championship Monday night. Won my first race Monday night in the Xfinity Series, and then the Goodies Series. I told these guys tonight I'm going to make the champion finish second, and we were doing it until, like I said, those guys in the back racing for nothing ruined it.
Yeah, unfortunate end there, certainly. But, obviously, some of the best momentum you can have heading into the offseason. And we know in 5 weeks' time we'll be back at Daytona International, which I think we can certainly say is one of your best tracks. I think you have 3 pole positions there and have always run up front. So certainly a lot of positive momentum coming out of this one and heading into the 2022B season.
Yeah, I think maybe the strategy should be to start in the back, because I don't have good luck when I start up front. So we'll see.
Well, we will give you a chance to make some shout-outs here in the air. We might have lost Alex there for a second.
Oh,
but
sorry,
yeah,
I did. I had my my mic was off because my dog is playing right there, and I was all talking. But yeah, just wanted to give you a chance there, Josh, to shout out anything you'd like there. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, just me and my teammate Johnny Thomas, we both probably had, as a collective, probably the best runs we've had as a duo all season. He ran in the top 10 a lot, got up into the top 5. Belly Up Sports, for the sponsor, Yeats, the sponsor as well, Manscaped, Mike Brown at Belly Up Sports, all those guys that make that happen. And then of course, Chad runs a pretty great place to race. Even though it may not always be the greatest place to race, it's a pretty great place to race. So, thank Chad for letting us all do this. And then, you guys committing a couple hours, of the week to put on a race that we can all go back and watch and make something that we're proud of. So just, thank everybody.
All right, well, congratulations again there, Josh Adams. P2 finish tonight. Very strong race car, very strong run, and one of the best ways to head into the offseason. So we're looking forward to seeing you again in just 5 weeks' time.
All right, thank you.
All right, Josh Adams there. And we'll talk to one more driver here tonight. That's going to be our 3rd place finisher in the championship. That's Tyler Fody there. Tyler, crazy race there and crazy ending for sure. I'm sure you'll have some thoughts on how that played out, but we'll start with the race as a whole. And it seemed like you had one of the more well-rounded cars in the field, while Tate and Shane, especially in the early parts of the race, seem to have a long run and short run car respectively. You and Nick Massey seem to just kind of be strong all throughout the race, and had some opportunities as well for track position a little bit later on in that one. But talk about the end there, the decision to go for 2 tires versus the 4 tires and how that played out. Ended up P3 in the championship. Probably not necessarily the result you were hoping for when you came into the night, but still a lot to be proud of, I'm sure, from the way the car ran.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say we had a pretty average car, like just perfectly neutral, which I wasn't too happy about. I wanted to be, as quick as Massey, but he was just on another level as far as short run and just overall pace. And then the super long runs didn't seem like I had a car for that either, so we didn't really have the short run or the long run. We're just kind of there. But it was working out with the track position. And that that played a big part in the decision at the end, especially with the late yellows that just kept kind of compounding on each other. Tyrion and Tate started getting closer and closer. And then next thing you know, all 4 of us were on top of each other. So knowing I was going to be second, third, maybe even fourth, if we were all on the same tires on a late restart like that, figured I might as well pull something. And I knew a few other guys were going to be doing that too with the 2 tires. So I was hoping to get some cars between me and everyone else. But Tyrion had the same idea, so props to him. And yeah, other than that, the last restart was pretty wild. I didn't expect Dewar. That was the one outlier I didn't prepare for, was someone taking no tires. So kind of had to navigate around Dewar, and then Tyrion got the clean air, which is what I was banking on. And from there was just trying to survive. Tate was flying up through everybody. And then, I was just trying to set myself up in the last corner in case something happened, which they kind of got into it. But, that was pretty much it. And then coming off the corner, I wasn't going to lift, and Tyrion was out of control a little bit, so we ran into each other, but all good. Happy with the season overall, though. It was strong. We got a win. Just keep coming up short in these championship races. So work on a couple things and maybe be a couple spots better next year.
You had a great season, though. As I deemed Mr. Consistency there. With the exception of that second round, which you still managed to find a win, you really were one of our top contenders all season long. What are you going to look back the most and remember from this 2022 season A as you gear up in 5 week times for season B?
Yeah, like you said, the consistency was something to be proud of. Wish we had a few more wins there, and we were close, barring a couple things. I think we could have had a couple more. But overall, it was about as good as I could have wanted it. Just some with these championship races, for each driver, you kind of have to have that right combo of track and feel and setup. And honestly, I think Massey had it tonight if we had a more straightforward race. But with the chaos at the end, anyone can take it. But overall, I'm happy with what we did.
All right, well, before we let you go here tonight, Tyler, I want to give you a chance to make some shout-outs on the air one last time in this 2022 A season.
Yeah, I got to thank Vince and Isabella for being on board all year. Showed a big improvement, so I was really happy to see that. Shout out to Blue Egg Marketing for being on the car all season long and sponsoring the league. Big shout out to you guys also for staying with it all year, giving us some good broadcasts to watch back. Shout out to Chad for putting the league on. And we'll be back next year.
All right, Tyler Fody there, our third place finisher in the championship this season, Mr. Consistency. We'll see you in 5 weeks' time.
Yep, thank you.
All right, I think that's everybody to talk to. Unfortunately, no Nick Massey in the waiting room there for us, so that might be the end of our night, at least with interviews.
Yeah, I would like to get his thoughts there, but nonetheless, probably not too happy there. Did have a strong car, but that's why these races, that's why we don't call them at, lap 150, 160, 170. It was a 200 lap event, and we got everybody that was watching got their money's worth here tonight. I mean, a last lap pass, a bump and run style, and nothing too egregious out there. I mean, we knew there were going to be some disappointed folks there at the end of this night. I mean, there was going to always be 3 drivers that are going to be walking away without that championship title, but I don't think we expected it to come quite in dramatic fashion. However, Tate Lytle, he's shown time after time, now a 2-time champion, why he's in fact called that now. Just you cannot count out that 56 car. An amazing season.
Yeah, for sure. And if we have the time, we actually have one more driver who's requesting to speak. That would be Trevor Elam, if we want to bring him in, actually, before we end the show. So let's see if we can speak to him there. And we do have Trevor Elam there. P4 finish tonight. Trevor, how's it going? Talk us through the race. Had kind of that, I think you were one of those guys who took that 2-tire pit stop on the last lap there, and you were very much involved in that battle between those championship drivers. Talk us through your night leading up to that point, and then obviously the decision to take 2 tires and what it was like running, knowing that these guys were going for something pretty big around you on that last restart.
Yeah, man, it was pretty crazy. I do want to clarify, did I get 4th? I got 3rd on my end. I don't know.
Oh, you did get 3rd. Sorry about that. My
3rd.
bad.
No, that's all good. It's all good. I was like, man, where's my interview at? I got on the podium. But anyways,
sorry about that. I have 2 different conflicting opinions on my timing and scoring. But on the official race results, you are 3rd. Apologies for that.
Hey, no worries. So I'll tell you, the night I was running late. Didn't get back here until 8:25. Didn't get any practice in, so it's kind of iffy on how I was going to drive. Because I mean, the Xfinity race last week, man, I was rolling. So I was like, man, it'll be just the same. I'll be good. But then I get in here, the first run, man, I felt good, man. I started 29th, got up to 13th, and then I was downshifting, which apparently that was a no-no. I didn't know that till after the first run. But got up to 13th, and then like lap 30 came around, and my car it died. Straight up, right rear was gone. Barely hung on to it. So we were running around 20th all night. We get 30 laps in. I start catching people. I learned how to save the tires a little better. We catch people, and then the caution come out at the right time. One of the cautions was me, because I'd lost into turn 1. I don't know how, but it just came around on me. So we were around 20th all night. Last caution comes out. I was like, you know what? I'm going for the win. It's been a rough season. Let me end it on a good note. Let's go for 2 tires, see what happens.
Well, how was that, knowing that the guys around you were racing for something that was mighty big, and being able to compete with them during those last 5 laps?
So that was in the back of my head. I was like, man, I wouldn't appreciate somebody that did that to me. But at the same token, I'm in the field. I paid to be here. I'm going to try and, get out there too. I want my name out there. So we start going, where we start 4th, I think. And Dewar stayed out there. And somehow he went from the outside to the bottom, which really surprised me. I was 3 wide with Fody there, and then we were 3 wide for a whole lap together, and we were rubbing doors off 4. I'm like, man, this looks really bad that I'm rubbing doors with a guy going for the championship right now. I need to get out of the way, whatever. And then so we go off into 1, and here comes Tate out of nowhere. So I'm like, man, I'm just going to go high. And then I got a little too high. Rode the bumps, the highest lane you could in turn 1 and 2. Thought I was going to wreck it. Somehow hung on to it. And then I was like, you know what? Let these guys race it out. Hopefully we'll be here next season. You know what I mean? Let them have it. And then luckily we got a 3rd place out of the deal. It was a great run. I mean, I started 29th, like I said, ran 20th all night. I couldn't ask for much more than a top 3 run after that.
Absolutely, a great finish there. Again, yeah, apologies there from our end for not seeing that fully in terms of the final timing and scoring coming out right. But yeah, congratulations on the P3, man, and want to give you a chance here on the air to make some shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out, like before, man, got to give it to Fueled Up Racing. Those guys are amazing. Didn't deserve to be on their team, but they decided to give me a shot. Was hoping to come here and help them get better, but honestly, they've been helping me. So it's been huge, a huge reality check there. Those guys are awesome. Elite Racing League, these guys put on the show. This is the best league you can get on iRacing. And finally, Behind the Wall Media. Those guys are amazing. Check them out on Twitter. My best friend runs it. Joshua Slate, he's on iRacing as well. Gotta love him. The guy's great at his job. NASCAR Media, go there. Give him a check out, man. Those guys are awesome. That's all I got, guys. Appreciate what you guys do. Big shout out to y'all. I can't wait to talk to y'all more next season.
Okay, we definitely can't wait as well. That is Trevor Elam with a podium finish. Third place here tonight for Fueled Up Racing. Congratulations, there, Elam.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, Trevor there. And I will say, I know we're extending this post-race show quite a bit, but we do have Nick Massey in the waiting room as well if we want to speak to him.
I do. I feel like we must.
All righty.
Real quick, yeah, then we'll get. I don't know who's still watching, but just for the sake of recording the journalist and me, the night.
we got yeah. Oh yeah, we got
to.
the longest post-race show in Elite Racing history. We'll do this. Nick Massey here. You will be the last driver we're interviewing tonight. Don't worry. But certainly, I think not the result maybe you were hoping for at the start of the night in terms of the overall championship picture. But I mean, talk us through your race and then that on the restart there, the choice to take 4 tires. Obviously worked out for Tate Lytle, but I think starting position and certainly how the restart worked out for you played into that. But I think certainly can't argue one of the strongest, if not the strongest car for the majority of the night. Unfortunately, the result doesn't show that, but talk us through tonight's Days Gone By championship race.
Yeah, first of all, thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast this season. It's been a blast, and it's been a good overall season. But man, it's just it's heartbreaking to be that good and have a car that good and just not come away with it. I mean, it looked like for a while it was just going to be between me and Fody because Shane was having some troubles and Tate. I didn't see Tate until I don't know lap 140, 150 or so. But yeah, just doing what I need to do to save tires and be good on those long runs. And man, we just lost the lead off of one start because Josh and Shane were up there and wanted to go, and I was I let them go to save some tires, and once I lost the lead, I could just never get it back. And then we got strings of cautions and tire calls came into it, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, just disappointed, man, to make it all the way here and looking like the best car there for a majority of that race and just come up short like that.
I was gonna ask you if you had been able to watch the end result. Have you been able to see a replay of the final 2 or 3 laps there? I know you were there, able to see it there, but how much were you able to see between Tate and your teammate there, Shane, going at it?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I mean, I thought about taking 2 tires because it was like a 5 or 6 lap shootout, but I thought they weren't going to hang on as well as they did. I was kind of surprised that they were not dropping like rocks taking those tires, but yeah, I saw it. Tate got a good run at him out of 2, and just in my opinion, he executed the perfect bump and run. Didn't wreck him, just barely tapped him a little bit and got him out of shape and drove on by for that championship. So definitely congrats to Tate too, because he came out of nowhere tonight. Him and Shane, they were both struggling early on, nowhere to be found, and then all of a sudden, when it counts, lap 140, 150, they're up there in contention for the thing.
Wanted to hear your thoughts as well. Any words of wisdom or encouragement for your teammate Shane there? You were in this similar boat here last season, a rookie in the championship 4, racing for a championship. Again, for him coming into this season, grabbing those wins towards the end of the season, very similar, I think, ways that your guys' seasons actually played out from yours last year to his this year, just coming up short in the championship. Any words of encouragement there for Shane, who will hopefully see both you and him as a threat here in the Elite Racing Leagues for a number of seasons to come?
Yeah, Shane's a good driver. I'm sure he'll be back next year and have a shot at it. But, it's definitely disappointing, especially to, be leading up until, I don't know, quarter mile before the line like that. But no, the competition, I've only been in the Cup Series for 2 years, 2 seasons here in Elite. And, the competition is just, I feel like it's getting tougher and tougher every year. This Final Four was stacked, and I know me and Fody were on in the practice session last night putting laps in, And I mean, that's the first time I've ever, I think, logged in and actually put laps in practice, the night before the race, just to show up and bring the A game here. And yeah, I mean, I know Shane will be back. I know, hopefully you guys will be back in the booth next year for another good run here.
Alrighty, well, want to give you the chance. What do you call it? To shout out anyone, or did I just say that?
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
you haven't yet.
I am. My dog. I am listening, but my dog is crazy. But Nick, you had a great run there. I wanted to give you a chance to shout out anything that you'd like there at the end.
Yeah, well, give your dog all the pets for me. Give him a give him a treat. But definitely shout out to my teammates. I mean, Matt Rod and all those guys in the Discord were a lot of help tonight. I know Shane was struggling early on too. We were all trying to get him back on the right track because he was about ready to call it quits. He was struggling so bad, I think. But yeah, shout out to those guys. Shout out to Matt Muir for doing the paints. Chris Wright for spotting for me tonight. Couldn't get it done, but appreciate the calls. And yeah, shout out to Chad for putting on the league. You guys for doing the broadcast. Hopefully it was a good one. I think it was a good finish. It looked like it was pretty exciting.
Oh, it was.
Definitely go back and watch. It was definitely one of the best. The final 6 laps were just crazy. So
yeah, I wish it would have went green like 10 to go there, and I think we're all lined up, running second, third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah, it was definitely dramatic. Something I would want for my real NASCAR. So.
All right. Well, congratulations there, Nick. Still on a fantastic season this year by. Obviously, you'll head back in 5 weeks as the defending Daytona 500 champion. So looking to go back to back in that one, and we'll be rooting you on for that one. So best of luck there, and we'll see you in 5 weeks' time.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys. Have a good off season.
You too. All right. With that, that's spoken to our top 3 finishers, our championship 4 drivers, and Alex, we've completed the first half of 2022 in terms of league racing here in the elite racing leagues. And yeah, I think 5-week break is going to be certainly enjoyable, but I think we're going to miss some of that racing. So I already can't wait for some of the storylines that we've built up over this season, and can't wait for the Daytona 500 to kick off, and the off season as well, team movements, all that kind of stuff. And then, we've had back-to-back seasons here where rookies have gone to the Final Four. So who's going to be the next new driver to show up and take it to the rest of these drivers that have been here. So I'm looking forward to it.
Massey said it quite well, I believe. This season was one of the toughest seasons I've seen out of everybody as far as the field. It continues to be showing improvement among everyone. But still, we saw the same result there with Tate Lytle getting the nod at the end. I cannot believe we're already, done with, 2022 Season A. And I am looking forward to that break, that 5-week break there. But, 5 weeks from now, I'll also be missing the fact that we get to call such incredible action. I can't wait to be back at Daytona, which I believe will be right around the real time where we see Daytona, if not fairly close. The action is always heating up there in the summer. The second half of the season always seems to be exciting, so I can't wait to have that. But Rashad, it's great always doing this with you, man. I absolutely love it. I'm biased, but I feel like no one else does what we do up here better.
No, definitely not. I mean, I always love calling races with you, man, and thoroughly enjoy these Wednesday nights. The racing has been spectacular this season, and it's made our job, I think, a little bit easier. Just there's so much action going out on the racetrack. It's easy to call those races, but it's always a pleasure, man, and I'm looking forward to it. Gonna look forward to my 5 weeks off and resting a little bit there from the races, but looking forward already for Daytona.
All right, well, this has been definitely the longest post-race show of the season there, but rightfully so. Tate Lytle, congratulations in order for him there. We'll see what happens in 5-week time when we have the Daytona 500 right here for you on the Elite Racing Network, but we'll get you guys out of here. Thank you for all that's still tuned in. Congratulations to each one of our Championship 4 contenders and to everybody that brings on this masterpiece of a league. Starting up front with Chad, our sponsors there, doing an excellent job as well. And then, of course, want to thank you, the viewers at home that are still watching giving us something to look forward to every Wednesday night. It's certainly a blast and a privilege to bring you the JoinAPS.com Cup Series right here on YouTube. But from all of us here for the Elite Racing Network and the Elite Racing League, we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. We will see you guys next time in 5 weeks' time at Daytona. Don't go anywhere. That season going to be beginning shortly. See you guys next time.